2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the C3 Panthers Podcast, the podcast for your Carolina Panthers. Man, we are here. And listen, if you've noticed, I am not the professor. I am not Tony Dunn. He is on vacation with the missus, tending to his family life. Yeah, what a loser, right? But anyway, we'll make this show go tonight without him. I have a tremendous panel here tonight. You know the guys. We also have some special guests. But the most special guest out of everyone joining us is the YouTube chat room. We all know him and love him. It's our boy Adam Sanders, our man Drew, CJA, Craig Cartner, The Real Zero Chill, Jay Prey, JD54, Muscles Marinara, White Chocolate Espresso, Legacy Lynn, what's up, Lynn, and William Taylor, what's going on? This is normally the part where I say Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it. Let's roll. And we will roll, but this time I'm going to pass it to my man CK, Codizzle Allen. Codizzle, what's up with you, bro?
Man, I am getting more and more excited as the days go on. We have FanFest right around the corner, which we're going to be, Greg, myself, and Cody Lashley, we're going to all be there, able to, hang out with some of you guys if you're coming up and enjoying yourselves there that night. But more importantly, we're going to see some real valuable plays on a live television in the form of preseason football on Saturday. And I listen, I don't know if there's anything more exciting than having a week coming through, being able to go to work and talk about football is one thing, right? But actually having the ability to know that it's coming around the corner, that anticipation is an unmatched feeling. And we're less than 4 or 5 days away from that happening. So it's an exciting time.
Very exciting time. And tomorrow, a lot of the 3s and the 4s are going to be getting a lot of time too. So, we're getting closer and closer to football, boys. Let's go. I'm pumped about it. Next up, you know him, you love him. It's the Stat Daddy. It's the Bat Daddy. Craig, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
What is going on, buddy? I've been looking forward to this Thursday to meet some C3 family and check out some Carolina Panthers football. And just so you know, anybody who shows up, I'm passing these bad boys out for free. So I better see some C3 Panthers podcast stickers on cars, on cups, on laptops, and all that good stuff. So if you hear anything in the background tonight, I'm making a whole shit ton tonight. I've already got about 75 made. I'm about halfway there. But anybody who's there, I expect C3 fam to, earn their keep and pass some out with me. So let's get the C3 name out there. It's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
That's it, man. That's it. I'm so pumped for FanFest. They say it's going to rain which I hope it doesn't. But a little rain isn't going to stop the show. We'll be all out in force, showing some love for these Carolina Panthers, man. Next up, you know him and love him. He's from the Friday free-for-all. But you know what? We said while Tony is away, the boys will play. I invited my man Nick Montero to the show. Nick, what's up, brother?
What's going on, Cody? Happy Tuesday. Happy to be on here. Ready to talk some football. And hey, like you guys said, preseason's here. I'm ready for it.
Dude, I'm so pumped, man. I'm ready to see some football.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, the Panthers are ready to, you know, to not beat up on their own teammates. You know, they're ready to actually go against some other players. So I'm sure they're chomping at the bit. Next up, look, this man might as well be an honorary member of the C3 Panthers podcast at this point. You know him. You love him. It's John from One Carolina. John, happy to have you back, brother. What's up, man?
Thank you, man. It's an honor to be here with you guys, man, sitting in for Tony this evening. As you know, I'm a big fan of the show, and, you know, I'm ready to kick it off, man, and get this preseason started, man. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Amen, man. Man, dude, we have a big show planned for tonight. Literally, I would say about an hour or two before we went live, a bombshell dropped that I wasn't expecting. I don't know if you all were, but there was a Panthers depth chart, and man, people are already really upset about it. But before we jump into it, let me make sure we do our due diligence here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live.
Yep.
We're here year round. And listen, man, you know you're going to need your fix. And that's what the C3 Panthers podcast is here to do. Also, yes, even though Tony is not here, Greg and I figured out how to do the cat calls. So if you would like to call into the show, leave a message, 252-228-5098. Boys, let's go ahead and jump into it.
Oh, yeah.
The depth chart has been released, and I can kind of move us around to make sure that everything is completely in view here. But, man, people are not happy about this, man. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's talk offensive line. Our starting offensive line, as of right now, is Brady Christensen at left tackle, Michael Jordan at left guard, Pat Elflein / Bradley Bozeman at center, Austin Corbett right guard, Taylor Moton right tackle. They have not given Akem Ekwonu any reps at guard this training camp. So although it does kind of look like Brady Christensen might be a little further along in terms of his talent at the left tackle position.
Yeah.
CK, I'm going to jump to you on this, man.
Yeah.
What is your initial reaction of the depth chart on offense? And we're going to go through defense and everything. But, yeah, what's your initial reaction?
Indecisiveness is what I'm seeing. Right. I see a lot of people that are listed on the first team that like let's be real about it. Tell people where people like you value them right now. I know that there's a certain level of that isn't productive and doesn't really offer much to help your team continue to grow. But there's also a level of it like, listen, you've got to, if this is really about competition, and you believe competition breeds the best, right? You can't sit here and shy away from saying that somebody's beating another person. Right, you can't do that. Like, I think you've got to be able to realize you're 2 weeks into training camp. If somebody isn't above another person, then I think that speaks more more highly about your inability to evaluate talent than it does about the people that are competing for that position. Like, it's so irritating to me that you don't like you can't list even just from the Bradley Bozeman and Pat Elflein, right? Like, make a decision of who you think is the number one right now. It doesn't mean that has to be the end result. But tell people what you really value them at so that they can actually, hey, listen, the firsts are going to be this time during this preseason game. The ones are going to be Pat Elflein, Baker Mayfield, X, Y, or Z, things like that, right? I think that's valuable. I don't know.
Yeah, and my biggest thing is I've been a big proponent of Brady Christensen playing left tackle for a long time. But let me tell you, I don't want Brady Christensen playing tackle if that means Ikem Ekwonu is going to have to sit the bench all year. Like, it seems as though the only way that they intend to get both of these men on the field at the same time is when they have Ekwonu at left tackle and then Brady Christensen at left guard. To me, that just doesn't make a lot of sense. Greg, what say you, man?
Look, Matt Rhule is the guy in high school that wants to break up with a girl but doesn't want it to be his fault. So he's always the guy that it's not you, it's me type deal. I think that what Matt Rhule knows exactly who he has at 1, 2, 3, and 4, every position who's starting, period. But he doesn't want to piss anybody off. He doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. So he's going to give you he's going to give you all the coach speak he needs, and to make the players, the players, I don't even think believe it. The players know who's number 1 and who's number 2. Like, I'm sorry, if you've ever been on a team before, like, this guy's better than you. He's going to start over you. Like, there's very rarely an occasion where it's borderline. I don't think we have anybody on our team that is borderline who's starting and who's not. We have our starting line. We have everybody who's backups. There is a clear difference. I think Matt Rhule is just doing coach speak right now just to not piss anybody off, because he's that guy that would rather you break up with him than him break up with you type deal. You know?
That's an interesting take. I can't understand the Icky situation at all. Like, I mean, the Pat Elflein, Bradley Bozeman, I guess I can sort of get that. Maybe I would like to see more definitive, answer there, but the Icky thing is just a head scratcher, man. Especially when you consider like where he was drafted, what his specialty is as far as run blocking. Yeah. Him being the highest rated, offensive tackle or guard, whatever, coming out in the draft, according to a lot of draft boards, above Evan Neal and Charles Cross. And then the number of players that you see on other teams, like I mentioned, Charles Cross, starting left tackle right now, for Seattle. Evan Neal's getting reps with the ones, which he was absolutely manhandling some people in practice at right tackle. I saw a video of that. And so it just doesn't really, like, I don't know if maybe it's the development or what, but with a line that has such, flux, if you will, it just makes zero sense for this guy not to be in that starting rotation to get reps and to learn. But this has to be, I would hope to say that this is something that is not just a Rhule thing, and also maybe a camping thing, maybe something he's seeing, maybe even something Ben McAdoo's seeing and saying like, hey, this guy's going to be good. He's going to be great, but he's just not quite ready yet. Right. To run with the ones. That's the only thing I can make of it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to Nick, but before I do, John, I wanted to give you a follow-up question. Why do you think it is that with all the experimentation that they have going at the offensive line, they're mixing and matching. They don't even list the starting center. It's Pat Elflein / Bradley Bozeman, which is the dumbest shit in the world to me. Right. Why did you bring in Bradley Bozeman, who, by the way, Ravens fans were upset that they parted ways with, and he's still splitting time with Pat Elflein? I don't understand. But with all of this competition going around, why is it, you think, that they don't even experiment with Icky at any other position other than left tackle?
I don't quite understand that. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And primarily because if we go back in history and look at, some of the most successful people in our franchise's history, mainly Jordan Gross, especially when you look at how high Icky was drafted, that I think the same thing happened to him. Didn't he spend some time at the beginning at right tackle before he moved to left? Yeah. I may need to be fact checked on that, but it was, and it's not, it won't be the first time or the last time that happened. So I don't really get that either. Like I said, there has to be because obviously we know, I think we all know this, that from a talent perspective, like it's not a talent issue. Yeah. It literally has to be maybe a picking up of the playbook, slide protections, things like that. Because one thing I do know that's much different about McAdoo's offense than the offense we ran, last year under Joe Brady, is that the quarterback makes a ton of checks at the line of scrimmage. And when he's making those checks, he's not just checking receivers in the hot routes. He's also, changing protection, slide protection, things like that. So it could be that maybe he just needs a little bit more time to pick up on some of that stuff.
Yeah, and even Taylor Moton at one point, when he did give an interview, said that he needs some time, that they're trying to kind of polish him up a little bit. So, I mean, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. Like, I wonder if maybe we are putting too much on Icky. But again, Matt Rhule has such a bad track record of mismanaging his rookie offensive talent. It's hard to know what's what. It's hard to know if this is on Matt Rhule just not giving enough opportunities.
Right.
I don't know. It's definitely weird. Nick, we talk about this a lot on the Friday free-for-all. I think I've even kind of brought you over to my side of Brady being left tackle. But I don't know. What do you make about this starting lineup, man?
Oh, I've always been there, dude. With what we saw out of Brady last year, I always thought that we should have given him an actual shot at left tackle. And, let's give Icky at least a couple of games at left guard, so that way he gets his feet wet at least out there. Could be a situational sort of deal. I think just like one Carolina said, I think a lot of it comes down to just the polish of it. I think that's the only reason why we aren't seeing Icky and Brady Christensen on the field at the same time, especially with Icky at left guard. Sam Tecklenburg, he's going to be cut, dude. Like that. I saw him play last year. No way. He is not gonna be on this team. And Pat Elflein, if I remember correctly, didn't he play better at center than he did on the left side?
He has historically. Yeah. With other teams, he has definitely. Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be one of those things where Bradley Bozeman needs to get adjusted to the offense, and maybe Pat Elflein picked it up faster. I'm not really sure. I'm not really going to sweat it yet until I actually see what goes on game day. The last thing that I'll say, though, too, about Icky, what if the plan is to start him at left tackle starting week 2? Do we really want his first NFL game to be against Myles Garrett?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be one of them. It's either going to be Brady Christian or it's going to be Kevin Kwanu. And it's like, it doesn't matter who you're putting up against them. It's Myles Garrett no matter what.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'd rather see Brady.
Yeah. But, and whoever wants to, answer to this, am I off base for saying that Brady Christensen has always been a top tier left tackle? He just didn't get the opportunity. But is it outside of the realm of possibility that the Panthers could indeed be better off with Christensen at left tackle than anyone else?
I've kind of been on that same train of thought as well. I do think that Icky, I think Icky's one of those guys that could be great at either side. Like I said, based on his scouting report, it just seems like he would be better suited as a run blocker primarily at the left guard spot. But I do know that just watching Christensen last year, his anticipation, you could see it in practice. Like just how he anticipates different moves. Like Brian Burns kills that swim move. And I mean, he done it quite a few times or tried to against Christensen and just could not get it off. And he got him a couple of times or whatever. And I mean, Icky showed, well against Burns a couple of times today. It's just, I just feel like he has just a more natural feel for the position. I heard Rashad from PNP say something about Brandon Smith, the linebacker, this Penn State linebacker. He said when he was doing drills, he said it's just something about Brandon Smith. He just looks a lot smoother than a lot of the other linebackers, and that's kind of how I see the same thing with Brady Christensen. Like he just has a feel for that tackle spot. Regardless of his arm length, size, things like that. Like he plays the position well.
So you're thinking that Christensen's a better tackle then?
I do. Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, I really have nothing to go off of.
I'm not saying he's better than Icky because we don't know that yet. But I just think his natural position is better at left tackle than left guard.
And see, I think that's important because I think that with Icky, he can play either one probably better than Christensen can. So it's at a point where what can Christensen play best? Put him there, let Icky play at the other spot. Like to maximize your effort. So if that's what you see, I really don't know looking at this because I can't analyze offensive linemen that well. I have to kind of go off what everybody else says.
Can I say something real quick? That last message you just posted up, I think it was the Donald guy had said, so you draft a guard
I wanted
that
to
high?
talk about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Listen, man, if the guy turns out to be a Hall of Famer, was it a wasted pick at 6?
100%
No.
agree.
We have this fantasy, like this fascination with left tackle. Like if Brady turns out to be a Pro Bowler left tackle and Icky a Pro Bowl left guard, then it's great.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter.
Right.
That's all I
And
want
to
is the
add-
best for both of them. Yes.
Same.
And to add on to that too, it's one of those things where look at how we have been the last few years on the offensive line. We have needed offensive linemen, at least quality offensive linemen, for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm okay with drafting a guard at 6 as long as if he's going to be good. It can't be a wasted pick. That's the only thing.
Well, I think our most improved point this year that we focused on finally was offensive line. And I just can't stop harping on how good Christian McCaffrey has been when healthy with the line and the weapons we have. Imagine what he can be if we have a par offensive line. Imagine what this guy can be.
Yeah.
Like Marshall Faulk type numbers may be better. It sounds crazy to say that, but seriously, it's right there.
Right.
It doesn't, because he already done it.
Yeah.
He's
He's on pace to beat Marshall Faulk even with the time he's missed.
Yeah.
If he continues to produce what he's done throughout his career. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, like that to me, this is the part that's the most frustrating, right? Like just taking myself out of it completely. I want both of these guys on the football field.
Right.
I mean, I want Brady Christensen and Ikem Ekwonu to be playing on our offensive line. Even though I'm a proponent of Christensen playing on the outside and Ekwonu playing in, if the Panthers aren't going to give Icky reps at left guard, then it's like, man, I feel like we're wasting our time giving Brady Christensen so many reps at left tackle.
Right.
Like, I want to maximize the talent that we have on our offensive line. And I feel like the only way you do that is if you have both of these dudes on the line at the same exact time, man. I also feel like when it comes to this center thing, like they're bouncing around Pat Elflein and Bradley Bozeman. I believe it might have been John Ellis on Twitter who kind of put forth the idea that, well, Bradley Bozeman had traditionally been paired with Baker Mayfield, and they kind of kept that. So whenever Baker Mayfield was starting reps with the twos, they would have Bradley Bozeman also starting with the twos, so that way they could kind of form that bond. I can't confirm or deny this, but it also seems like they're doing a little bit of the same thing at the center position. Like they're kind of, I feel like they're kind of giving Bradley Bozeman a rough go of it when that was one of our best offensive line moves this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if we're going to be starting Baker, then if that actually happened, that would make a lot of sense, and I'm for it in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard very much about him playing, so.
Yep. And also to kind of go on what John said, I don't agree with this notion that you don't draft a guard in the top 10. Like, why? Are you going to tell me that Quentin Nelson, who was also drafted number 6 overall, that he isn't the linchpin? Yeah, but also that he isn't the most important person in that Colts offensive line. Like, just because you're a guard doesn't automatically mean that you're less valuable than the left tackle.
Can we also talk about how I would say that there's a lot of similarities between Icky and Quentin Nelson as well in the way that they try to finish their blocks? Like Quentin Nelson is a dog, right?
Yeah.
He wants to put every person he blocks against into the dirt and just make sure they can't get up, right? Like that, you kind of get that feeling with Icky as well, right? These guys are not, you're not dealing with people who aren't capable of doing some incredible things on this offensive line. And Ben McAdoo's like statements about Icky, I think, I don't know if we have a clip of it, but he basically said one of the greatest statements of a offensive lineman. He said that when that guy's blocking, he can block out the moon, right? Or block out the sun or whatever it was. And so, which is a ringing endorsement for a guy who hasn't been getting first team reps, oddly enough. So I'm interested to see what happens, and that's why I think that this preseason game is so important, and that's why I think we have a lot of excitement around what's going to be happening here.
Mm-hmm. Ben McAdoo's one-liners are great.
Yeah, they are.
Here I was talking. I didn't even have my I had my shit muted, man.
I did too. Yeah,
I'm messing up over here, bro. Dude, you've never seen a cripple juggle so many different things at once. I'm uploading cat calls. I'm putting comments up. Y'all gotta work with me, okay? So I do want to ask before we move on to the defense here. Let me get this off the screen. Is there anything else that jumps out to you on the depth? Oh, how about this? Should anything be made of the fact that PJ Walker is listed ahead of Matt Corral? Part of it is like
nepotism,
this isn't something to really worry about right now, but I don't know. I'm kind of annoyed because Matt Rhule continuously does this with his rookie offensive players. Like he almost hazes them. I mean, it might not be that bad, but he doesn't really he really makes them prove their worth on the team.
Yeah.
But before they're actually able to, do something meaningful for the Carolina Panthers. I don't know. Any more thoughts and before we move on to the defensive lineup here?
All I know is this, to your point about Matt Corral. If Matt Corral comes out, it don't matter whether he's, third team, fourth team, and he absolutely shreds the opposing defense. It's just going to further. To me, it stands to make Matt Rhule look that much more potentially incompetent than anything else. So I guess, time will tell.
Yeah. I was saying my thing is to add on to the point right here and to be where this matters, what this depth chart actually means. I literally heard Matt Rhule say out of his mouth yesterday that it would be at least 2 weeks before they decided who the starting quarterback was going to be. I heard him say today, or at least read an article today, that Baker Mayfield's making leaps and bounds. So, he's very wishy-washy. He's telling you what you want to hear. He knows who the starters are. Like I said, I can't think of any other position on the team other than maybe left tackle, left guard, who we know who at least the two starters are going to be, but not where, or quarterback, where there's any question of who's starting.
Right.
This is Matt Rhule making coach talk. And if Matt Rhule has PJ Walker listed ahead of Matt Corral, then we know he's just an idiot. He's only doing this for purposes of Matt Corral being a rookie, because there is absolutely no way you can make any argument whatsoever that PJ Walker is even on the same playing level that Matt Corral is without even seeing Matt Corral throw an NFL snap or taking an NFL snap. I know this, not even being there looking at the team, not knocking PJ Walker, but you've had your chances to be an NFL quarterback.
Wouldn't that be the argument?
What's that?
For PJ Walker is he has had those snaps in the game. Wouldn't that be? I guess that would be my argument. If I'm coming against you from that perspective, argument would be Matt Corral hasn't taken a snap in the league, right? He hasn't proven anything. PJ Walker's undefeated when starting in the league.
This is true.
Facts.
This is true.
But to be fair, so was Teddy Bridgewater for 5 games when he started with the Saints, right? So, to each their own.
Kyle
right?
Allen for a little bit.
Right. So, I mean, there's it's a limited sample size, and quite honestly, it wasn't like we were going against top tier talent. Outside of he started technically when we went against the Cardinals, I think. But the Cardinals shit the bed. It was at that point in the season when Kyler Murray decided that he was going to start playing video games instead of actually watching tape.
Well, and to be fair, he started the Arizona game, but he did not win the Arizona game. Cam Newton accounted for every touchdown in that game. PJ Walker was kind of a filler, in that.
But PJ, in all fairness, PJ got him down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. He played well for what he is. He
PJ's best game was that game, and I believe it was 2019, where he had to step in against the Lions, and we pitched a shutout. And it felt like PJ kind of brought a new energy to the team that day that we had really been in some desperate need of. Yeah. Again, I like PJ. I just think Matt Rhule has said that they intend on keeping 3 quarterbacks. And at the end of the day, no one thinks that they're going to give up on their quarterback. That not only are their fans excited about, but the coaches have also been incredibly excited about. And by the way, it's for a reason, man. Like a lot of people are still kind of going back and forth about the future. And, if it ends up being Baker or Matt Corral, that remains to be seen. But these are the reasons. Let me take this down.
Yeah, you might. Yeah.
These are the reasons why you draft a Matt Corral. Matt Corral today in practice with the touch, the perfect release.
That's
dropping
beautiful.
the ball right in front of them.
Beautiful.
Man, that's beautiful. And listen, I have to admit, look, people are going to say I'm rushing it. The team isn't going to do what I want to do anyway. So I can wish for Matt Corral to be the starter, and it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. But when you see all these beat reporters talk about how behind the curb, that Matt Corral needs more time and things like that, dude, I have to imagine that if he had gotten more time with the ones, he might be looking pretty damn good right now. Very dedicated, very, really trying to prove himself. But yeah, man, like I just don't see a scenario where Matt Corral isn't going to be a big part of what we do going forward. And John even said this before the show. Like, how many of us are so excited about the preseason because we feel like we're going to get a shot to see so many of our talented younger players actually play some legitimate football, like Matt Corral. I'm pumped for that.
The thing is, though, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so here's my thoughts. So the belief that we're going to be going into the season with 3 quarterbacks, right? We know one of these guys are going to be the odd man out. I don't think it's PJ. I don't think it's Matt Corral. I think it's going to be Sam Darnold. And here's the thing.
I like this. Go with it.
Here's the thing. My opinion on the matter. Okay. Sam Darnold is going to either, if we can't find a trade partner, which we're not going to, we will cut him. And we're gonna eat that salary. Because one reason and one reason only. Okay. It's the same reason that they're not letting Jimmy G come into the locker room in 49ers training camp. You cannot have a guy sitting in the helm waiting to take over when somebody's starting to get bad, right? And so I think that's what it is going, like Sam Darnold, if he's going to be second string, well, there's going to be this constant now we have him, if Baker Mayfield had a bad first 2 games, we're going to have to move on to Sam Darnold and let him, and it's going to be a lot easier for our coaching staff to make that decision with Sam Darnold as opposed to the 3 that we would have if we kept PJ Walker and Matt Corral. And I think personally, Sam Darnold, unfortunately, I guess we already know that at this point in time, it's a lost cause. Like we're paying him $17 million for no reason whatsoever. Anyway, he's not going to be the starter this year, right? I think we all can agree with that. So if we're gonna, if we really have the intention of moving on from him, if we don't really believe he's going to be the guy, then why? I don't care if he is going to be the backup. The hope is he's never seen the field anyway. If we lose, if Baker Mayfield goes down or if he's sucking, we're not going to be doing well anyway as a squad. So it's sort of like if Cam Newton went out of the game, right? Derek Anderson was able to do some things, but let's be real. We didn't have Derek Anderson starting games thinking we were going to win.
Yeah. So we'll go to John and then I'll jump in. Go ahead, John.
To your point, CK, is kind of poetic justice because we've seen a similar situation happen the last time, not the last time Cleveland was good, but the last time before they went 0-for or 1-31. When they had sort of a fighting chance, and there was that whole quarterback, controversy between Johnny Manziel and Brian Hoyer. And Mike Pettin had them at 7-4 at one point in the season, and you yank Brian Hoyer because the ownership wants to play Johnny Manziel because of where they drafted him. And so I agree with you 1,000%. If you have Sam Darnold in here, right. Baker, while he may be better, than Sam Darnold, he's always going to be looking over his shoulder. And it'll leave Matt Rhule an option to be sort of like last year, where instead of letting us run with Cam, let's just let's see if we can get sneak Sam Darnold back in here because of what we paid him.
Right.
Can I be honest with you with Sam Darnold and the Baker Mayfield situation? Here's my personal thoughts: is I don't believe Baker Mayfield is the guy that's going to take us to the promised land. Now, I do believe he can do it, but here's the thing that gets me with Baker as opposed to Sam, and why I'm in Baker's camp and not Sam's. When Baker Mayfield got signed, Sam Darnold should have said, "Screw you, I'm the quarterback of this team." And he didn't. He has no moxie, no backbone, no spine. I need a guy that's in charge of my team, even if he's not the best quarterback in the league, to act like he is. And that's what I get from Baker Mayfield. Whether he's the best guy out there or not, I get that. When I see Sam Darnold out there, he looks scared. I need a guy to step up with a backbone, have some moxie, and say, this is my team. And if we lose, it's my fault. If we win, it's my fault. But I'm the reason this team's going to go there. Whether he can do it or not, I need him to have that attitude. Sam Darnold does not have that. And that's why I am in Baker Mayfield's camp as opposed to Sam Darnold's. If Sam Darnold would have said when Baker Mayfield got signed, screw you, I'm the quarterback, come beat me, I'd have been in Sam Darnold's camp 100%. But he didn't.
Let me add you some spice to that so you can finish that statement here, Greg. You didn't hear Matt Rhule when Baker Mayfield got signed or traded for come out and tell everybody, I just told Baker not to focus on the playbook. We don't need him to be a leader. You didn't hear, like, he said that about Sam Darnold. Like, people forget that. When Sam Darnold came here, the head coach of the football team told the quarterback, who was the leader of the offense, I don't need you to be a leader on this team. That's how little faith he had in him, right? Sam Darnold isn't a leader. He has not been somebody, like, he's not a rah-rah guy. And tell me when you've seen a Super Bowl, quarterback who is a guy who's a top 10 quarterback who has been able to take their team anywhere that hasn't been somebody who's lifted their team up emotionally, but also from a just being able to be being talented and physically gifted, right? Every single one. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all the greats, you name them. You see them in the huddle just building their team up. I've yet to ever see a Sam Darnold clip of him hyping up his squad.
And that matters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it definitely matters. And you know what else matters? It really matters that we had a bunch of people who come into this show and they listen to us talk Panthers. But at the end of the day, they're still just a bunch of weirdos. And there happens to be a whole bunch of them in the chat. And instead of like prolonging the wait for why they're really here, I think you might as well just get it over and done with. Why don't you go ahead and talk to them, Big Papa?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are T-minus 5 days away from the Carolina Panthers taking the field. We have 2 days from FanFest when I might be able to meet some of you freaks. Okay? We're going to be there enjoying watching the Panthers practice, seeing their families, watching a laser light show, fireworks, and we're super excited. You've come to this chat to finish talking about training camp. You're all here, 275 of you legends, but you haven't hit that like button yet? You haven't hit that subscribe button yet? I have one thing to say to all you legends. Subscriber shame.
$270 people, 96 thumbs up. If everyone hit the like button right now, oh, dude, we're the kings of the algorithm, dude. Don't you want to see that? Don't you want to see your boys be kings for once? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. You know we're just ramping up this content, baby. We're going to be here all year round. We're going to be doing beat checks. We're going to be doing debate my takes. The post-game show is coming back. Listen, man, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. You already know what it is. Boys, let's finish this depth chart, and then we'll really get into all the things that we were kind of just getting at and getting into. But let's finish this here depth chart. This is the defense that we're looking at here. Let me make sure everybody can see what we're looking at. I didn't have as many thoughts on this as I did the offense, but I will say this. I've been someone who is very high on Davion Nixon, and I see him as the backup to Derek Brown. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like Davion Nixon would be much better served as a 3-tech, meaning lined up next to Derek Brown rather than playing that 1-tech, 0-tech that, they kind of have Derek Brown playing. John alluded to this on his show the other night. It's looking like we're trying to be a much more a truer 4-3 defense than we ever have before. So it's really going to be interesting how they line these guys up. But just based off your initial thoughts What are we thinking about this defense right here? And is there anything that maybe has you maybe scratching your head? What's everyone's thoughts here?
I have one thing.
Yeah, go ahead, CK.
That I have scratched in my head. Corey Littleton.
You hit it right where I was going to say it. Go ahead.
Corey Littleton being a backup to Shaq Thompson. Now, I'm not saying he should have taken Shaq Thompson's place, but right now, I mean, I don't know who I would put him ahead of, but I watched his press conference today. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch that. Apparently, he is trying to play all over the place, but the fact they have him on the depth chart behind Shaq Thompson just feels a little odd to me.
I agree with you 100%. That was the thing that stood out to me whenever I first looked at this, and I think based on that and what Cody was saying with the Marquise Haynes being number 2 behind, the Nixon being behind Brown, I think this just further proves the point that they were probably told, look, you have to have a depth chart in by this time so that we can put it out there. So that way, mid-level shows like us can talk about it, or people can talk about it. This doesn't mean anything. I really don't think this depth chart means anything because, once again, I don't think there's a lot of arguments as far as position goes. But seeing this and seeing what we see clearly as, well, that doesn't look right. It's just them filling out stuff on paperwork and sending it in for like an assignment. Like you had to have this in by this date, so just fill out the paperwork and send it in. It's what I really feel like this is, you know?
Yeah. Not a whole lot to really kind of, freak out about. My man Drew says Corey Littleton should start at middle linebacker. Right now they have him behind Shaq Thompson as Shaq's backup. They have Brandon Smith behind Frankie Louvu. And listen, I kind of think that they intend to use Frankie Louvu and Brandon Smith for that matter. Yeah, as more pass rushers than anything else. I really do think that's how they intend to use them. I mean, that's how we've seen Frankie Louvu used. And I think that Brandon Smith is going to be very similar in that regard. I don't know. I just think that it's such a wasted opportunity at the middle linebacker position. I just feel like the most important position of our defense, that Mike's linebacker, gets the least amount of love and attention. And so, again, we're going to talk about Roquan Smith a little bit later. But all of these, if you look at our depth from top to bottom, to me, the position group that worries me the most is middle linebacker. Just because I don't have faith in Damian Wilson, Kamal Martin, or Isaiah Graham Mobley, whoever the hell that is. You know, it's like that's such an important position. And I just feel like we've been neglecting it for so long that it's a travesty at this point.
I agree with you. I was really big on in the draft Chad Muma. But you know, I think I do wonder like how some of this plays with just the multiple fronts that they try to show, because it doesn't like with the base 4-3 that we ran under Rivera, there was like, you know, Luke Kuechly was, you know, a feature player. Thomas Davis was a feature player, Charles Johnson and others. Like in this defense, it kind of feels like it's more plug and play, where it's like if we're in a 3-3-5, the feature might be, you know, J.C. Horn in the slot because he might, you know, come down and crash, or Jeremy Chin might play in the box a little more in a you know, 4-2 situation or whatever. So, you know, I don't know that the middle linebacker, if they put as much emphasis on it as we kind of do or whatever, or like it used to be in those in the glory days of our defense. But I mean, it does work. And I had said this on Twitter earlier, that if you're in a 3-3-5 and you are forcing a team to throw the ball, then Phil Snow's going to look like an absolute genius. But when teams can run on you like crazy, like it gets exposed very quickly.
Yeah.
So I have a question. When I play fantasy, I always try to take a different strategy than everybody else is taking. And do you think that may be kind of like what they're looking at here? Because while I agree that having a middle linebacker as maybe your strongest position on defense is a good idea, I look at the other positions we have and we're really strong in a lot of other places. Do you think they're trying to make up for not having that middle linebacker, and they feel like, well, maybe we don't have to be as strong at middle linebacker if we're elite in everything else? And it could be a good way to go, because like for fantasy, if I look at the way the draft's going, I'll draft like the top 5 tight ends. So I have trade positions and I have a different strategy to play than everybody else. And maybe that's kind of the advantage they're looking at here is you don't have to have that elite middle linebacker because not everybody has one.
Right.
So you've got to figure out a way to work around that. And I think maybe that's what they're doing here. I think Littleton's a better linebacker than Shaq Thompson. I'm more loyal to Shaq Thompson being a Panther, but just I think he's a better linebacker, and I think eventually he's going to take over that number 1 spot. And then I don't think we're going to have to worry about this elite middle linebacker question much longer, to be honest with you. I think he's an elite middle linebacker. You know?
Yeah, by the way, I agree with my man C-Dog. And I was saying this about Frankie Louvu last year. Like, why not take your big, athletic, strong guys and put them at Mike? Like, I mean, you're going to tell me that Brandon Smith doesn't have the athleticism to be able to drop back in coverage and flip his hips? Like, the dude ran a high 4.3, and he's like 250 pounds, 6'4". Like, this guy, you know, just from an athletic profile perspective, is really, 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 really good. And I just think he has the potential to be so much more. You know, I think Rashad from PMP has famously called Brandon Smith our discount version of what's the guy, the
Micah
Cowboys?
Parsons.
Yeah, our discount version of Michael Parsons, and that might very well be true. Frankie Louvu might be our discount Michael Parsons this year. Again, like they really do intend to play them the same way, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any more discussion needing to be had about this depth chart before we move on? Again, like this came out just before the show, like while we were setting up the show. There isn't too much to be made from it because we know that they're waiting until after that Patriots game and those scrimmages to really kind of hone in the roster. But is there any other thoughts we have here? I saw someone mention Jeremy Chin at free safety instead of strong safety, and that's kind of weird. It seems like him and Xavier should be flipped in that scenario. Yet they're still calling Chin the free safety. Any thoughts on that?
I'm just waiting for them to change Jeremy Chin's number to a 50 and put him at linebacker.
Yeah. Yeah, you could probably do that. Well, I was going to ask which one blitzes more, free safety or strong safety, or is it just basically a matter of who your coach is? I'm not sure.
Well, strong safety, they're in the box more,
Okay.
so normally they're going to be the ones that's blitzing. Like you can also do a lot of nickel corner blitzes, you know, if you put something like that at that spot. Which, by the way, knowing how Steve Wilkes is, I think the blitz, especially the corner blitz, is going to be a big part of our defense this year. Yeah. I'm calling that now.
Yeah, Dante, and that's exactly what I was going to say about the interesting thing about Kalon Barnes being there because, man, he is a burner. If he has good ball skills, like he is going to be a crazy good asset for this. And I suspect you'll probably see him some in punt return, possibly punt and kick return as well.
See, I want Jeremy Chin to be in any kind of blitz package we have because anytime I see Jeremy Chin in the backfield, he's making big things happen.
Yeah,
like that's a guy that he has defensive back coverage skills and ability, but he also has linebacker blitzing ability. That's a guy that I want to be able to be as close to the line as possible when he can be.
We saw it today in those in the red zone drills whenever he stopped Tommy Tremble.
He's amazing. Yeah, he is amazing in the backfield. Jeremy Chin is.
He's just super athletic. He's got the it factor.
Agreed. Best draft that we've had in years, to be honest with you. I think
not for nothing. Can I say something about that real quick? Just sidebar. Like, because a lot of people were like, oh man, Tommy Tremble reached over the goal line. Matt Rhule's going crazy right now. Like, no, it was situational. That was fourth down. You should try to reach over the goal line because if he doesn't get it, the ball's turned over anyway. Right. The reason he did that to Rashard Higgins is because Rashard Higgins was also the same player that done that against Kansas City and lost the ball and the ball was turned over. That was a like almost potential, or you could argue was a play that decided that game.
Yeah, easily, man. And I've been saying this too. I would love to see, one of the things that I found out is that Dante Jackson is a very polarizing player to a lot of different people. I find that fans either love Dante Jackson or they hate Dante Jackson.
Which is so weird.
Maybe hate's a strong word, but I've been a believer that we have put so much on Dante Jackson's plate that it was impossible for him to look good in a lot of those scenarios that we put him in. We had him on the outside on the other side of James Bradbury. Say what you want about James Bradbury. He's not on the Panthers anymore, and he's not on the Giants anymore either.
He's on the Raiders,
and
right?
then the Panthers have had such a problem stopping the run. It's like everyone has to play close to the line. Of course you're going to get beat deep over the top when you're constantly having to worry about stopping the run.
Yeah.
I think all of these factors have really kind of inhibited what Djax has been able to show us as a football player. And last year I felt like he played his best football ever. Playing faster than ever, playing downhill. Really got better at that form tackling. Go ahead, CK.
I'm also willing to give him the benefit of the doubt for the first few years because he was young, right? I mean, there's a reality that exists that these players aren't going to be their best potential until they get to a certain point, right? And he just now got out of his rookie contract. He got his first deal, and he's now back with us because last year he did show that leadership. And honestly, I love Djax now. I've been that person who's been on the polarizing side of where Djax is. I didn't believe that he was a guy that was going to be able to do much for us because it felt like he didn't have that maturity. Now I feel like he is a bona fide leader on this team. I feel like he is a guy. He is that rah-rah guy that you're looking for on it as a defense. Like he reminds me, him and Shaq Thompson do a lot, but I think Dante Jackson has a lot better. I don't know. He has that Thomas Davis energy, right? When it comes to talking up the team, and like I said, I'm here for it. I can't speak highly enough. Like I said, I was a big critic of him, but now I'm very much in his, in the Dante Jackson favorable opinion outlook right now.
Yeah, I think so too. I also I would really like to see him get some snaps at nickel corner. Like CJ Henderson has really been impressive during training camp. I would like him and JC Horn to live on the outside, and then and let Dante kind of roam the middle and use that speed and really kind of take away a lot of that middle of the field. Nick, did you want to jump in with anything before we move on to Baker Mayfield?
Dude, it's a good thing that you just brought up CJ Henderson, man, because quite honestly, if he didn't work out, that would have hurt our defense pretty hard. We need him to work out and work out good. We gave up more for him than we thought we did at the time.
Yeah, and dude, how about that? If Fitterer is going to end up going down as a legend, if CJ Henderson ends up being a shutdown corner,
he better show me something.
Oh yeah, I know.
He better show me something because he didn't last year.
He's going crazy in camp, bro.
He didn't last year,
in camp.
Yeah. Well, also remember he came in late. He came from Jacksonville to Carolina. Yeah. He was dealing with a lot.
He came from Jacksonville because he was not doing what he should do. Like he was like kind of garbage. He was a bust draft pick, which is why I have a hard time believing he is good because he hasn't amazed me yet. But he was a first round, wasn't he a top 10 draft pick? Yeah. And he got traded 2 years later. There's a reason for that. Now, I'm not saying he can't be good, but I have not seen anything that impresses me to be a top 10 draft pick or to be a guy that I'm insanely excited about. Now, if he does well, I'm hoping for him to do well, but he didn't show me anything yet. Last year, he was not great.
What they were saying about him down in Jacksonville was the fact that it just looked like he didn't want to play football anymore.
Right.
And
he has no drive.
But Jacksonville was a dumpster fire of a team, man. Sometimes all it takes is a little change of scenery and it lights a fire back in your belly.
Dude, you can put me on a college team. If you're going to pay me X amount of $1 million a year, I'm going to put forth all my effort. That's just me personally. Like, if you're going to pay me, like for me, a veteran minimum contract, $1 million, is that veteran minimum, whatever? Like, that's life-changing money for me. I'm going to play to my best ability to change my family's life. Like, that excuse doesn't work for me. But I get what you're saying, but for me personally, that excuse doesn't work. Like,
the other thing, Greg, is too, I mean, how old are you?
38.
Yeah. He's what, 21 or no,
That's
23?
a good point.
Something like that.
That's a very good
You
point.
know, his priorities are a little bit different. He can look at it
Very
as, oh, I'm still young and I can do something else. You know what I
very
mean?
good point. Yep.
So,
Not just that, but it's also, man, that money situation, man, I'm telling you, you cannot. I've been a person who has worked at some places and made some extremely good money, and I've worked at some places and made some, okay money. And the places that I made the okay money, man, I was so much more at peace. Like, and you can't pay for that. Like, you can't put a dollar amount on that kind of peace. So it could be, I mean, just look at the situation, from last year, man, and just like, or last year, summer last year, year before, like he was just, the Jaguars are, and no disrespect for them, but they're an organization who has always been in flux, like every single year, and that's not us at all. More stability here. He's doing better under Steve Wilkes. So, I just think I'm like my man. Gosh, I forgot you. I can't see on the screen right here, but my bad. But I just think Nick. Sorry about that, Nick.
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those things where new place, new faces, and just a new attitude.
And look at who he had around him in Jacksonville too, and compare that to now. I mean, his defense now is a lot better than what it was in Jacksonville. So I bet you in Jacksonville he felt like he was the only one there making plays or trying to make plays, and it was all on him. And maybe he's just not that type of player. Maybe he just has to be around quality guys in order to perform the way that he should.
Right.
But do you want a guy like that? Do you want a guy, look, I hate to cross sports, but do you want a Kevin Durant? Do you want a guy who will only play well when he's on a championship team? That's
No.
my thing. Like, I want a guy who's going to play his hardest and play his
I'm right there
best,
with you.
no matter what. Look, I'm putting this in the chat right now. It doesn't matter if I'm getting paid millions to work out and play a game, because realistically, I hate to say it, y'all, that's what it is. They're getting paid to work out and play a game, which I would take any day of the week, anytime. If somebody's going to pay me $5 million to work out for 6 months of the year and play a game 1 day a week, hell yes, I'll do it. Now, I don't know. Granted, I am not in that position. I cannot say that I know what these guys go through, but I cannot imagine that their lives are harder than mine. I just can't, because even when you have your downtime, you have anything you want. Like no matter what you're going through to get whatever you want, in the end, you're getting whatever you want. So in the end, is it really that? Like, I just don't feel for these guys, especially quarterbacks. Oh my God, who complain about money. Like, I just can't deal with that, man. Like, you are getting paid to play a game and work out.
Can I ask you a quick question?
There is to it.
Where do you work?
Ask this question and then we got to move on, because we got.
I want to ask an honest question. When you mentioned the quarterback thing, where do you work?
I work at the post office.
If the post office, like, is there, outside of you performing your normal duties, like your everyday duties that you're supposed to, is there any chance that you would ever get like hurt or anything like that to where you couldn't perform your job? Like, are you a runner, or you like work inside the office or whatever like that?
Well, I deliver mail, so yeah, there's definitely a chance I could get hurt.
Absolutely. Because I think the quarterback is a once in a lifetime situation, once in a lifetime opportunity. And these guys are taking the risk literally. Like, we look at a guy like Lattimore for South Carolina, Cody. Like, this guy, goes out there, puts it all on the line, and can never play football again. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of understand why they try to go after the big money, because you are literally one hit away from your dream being completely crushed. Like,
and I get that. I totally do. Looking out for your family and looking out, having the best interest for what's going to happen in the future. I get that. But at what point is there a line where you say, okay, you're getting paid 6 months out of the year to play a game and work out? Like, literally, I hate putting it like that, but realistically, that's what it is. You're getting paid 6 months out of the year to play a game and work out and make media appearances. Like, I'm sorry, just coming from a guy who's worked 2 jobs the majority of my life to barely make it, it just seems like I would give that up in an instant. If I had the physical ability these guys had, hands down, I would give that up, no problem. And I would probably do it for 1/10 of what they're doing.
I'm right there with you on that one, man. The other thing to remember too is, though, you've already said it, you would take the opportunity if it was given to you. And let's face it, never hurts to have just a little bit more. And sometimes,
that's
you got to push.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah,
because if you don't, the next guy will.
Most, yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on from this roster conversation. Great discussion. And again, there's not really too much to look into. You know, this is going to change so much. By the way, rules for the chat room: be respectful to everybody. That's my only rule. You can talk bad about, you know, any football team. We don't silence any opinions. Just be cool to everybody. And don't talk shit about me, because I'll throw your ass out of here faster than you can blink. So
you can talk shit about me. I don't care.
What's up, bro? Anyway, let's move on. And we need to talk about Baker Mayfield, y'all, because as you might have seen, I named the show tonight Baker Mayfield is QB1. And you might have noticed that we didn't talk about this much in the roster discussion, because we're going to talk about it now. And we continue to have this conversation largely because Matt Rhule continues to say that there is a competition and that they will not be done evaluating this competition until after we play the Patriots. But we all know that this isn't the truth, man, because literally anyone and everyone who has been paying attention knows that Baker Mayfield, of the starting two, has been far better than Sam Darnold in just about every way possible. This is from the Charlotte Observer here. John Ellis, I believe is his name. I'll get that right. I'll look it up here in a minute. But it says, Mayfield set the tone from the start. Practice opened up with the live red zone session. The offense ran 8 plays from inside the 4 and scored 5 times. Mayfield, Darnold, and rookie Matt Corral all tossed touchdowns. Darnold and Mayfield are in an open competition to be Panthers' starting quarterback, but over the past 3 practices, Mayfield has established himself as the team's best option. He has won 3 consecutive practices, according to our daily tracker. Again, that's over at the Charlotte Observer. This is from Joe Person in The Athletic. It says Baker Mayfield has established a firmer grip on the scheme, has looked a lot more comfortable, from the way he interacts with teammates to the way he carries himself on the field to the way he throws the football. The number 1 overall pick didn't look like he was overthinking things Monday. Mayfield was ripping throws and gaining separation from Sam Darnold in the much scrutinized quarterback position. So, gentlemen, my question to each and every one of you is: Matt Rhule hurting the cohesion of the Panthers offense by not just naming Baker Mayfield the starting quarterback? Like, continue to give him the first team reps so that by the time the first game comes around, the preparedness from all of your offensive players is at the highest probable level that it could be. Am I wrong in saying that's a legitimate criticism of our coaches not calling this competition? And it was never a competition. I think we can all agree on that. But is it to the point now where it's hurting our preparedness for the start of the season?
Yeah, I've been a proponent of that. Now, how much, I don't know, right? We've seen people be successful by not having any preseason, right? So it's not out of the realm of possible for him to come out and still have some success. But in the middle of our offense, everybody on our offense learning a new offense under Ben McAdoo, and then having there be a quarterback battle on top of it and a battle on offensive line, there's a lot of concern. Like, it's great to have all these battles, I feel like, right? But there's also a level of it that is going to make things a lot more difficult for us to get into our groove until maybe a few games into the season, right? And I'm not a football coach, right? I'm not a coach in the NFL, a high school football coach or anything like that. But it just feels like, to me, it makes a lot more sense to at least put somebody in that position and let them, like, until they've lost that job, don't make them move out of that position. Let Baker continue to take with the ones. If he's the clear front runner, let him be the front runner, right? Until Sam Darnold does something to dethrone him from that position, then let's just keep it going that way. And maybe even vice versa. If you really believed into this training camp, Sam Darnold was the one, put Sam Darnold with the one and let Baker earn the one. Well, in my opinion, he did that.
They put Sam Darnold with the ones at the very beginning, and I feel like Baker Mayfield has won that position. Put him in there. Let him do that, and let Sam Darnold chase him for a while.
Look, I actually think that Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield being in this position they're in is actually way more beneficial to Baker Mayfield. He's had a different offensive coordinator every year he's been in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this guy is smart and he knows how to pick things up. Listen, I don't care how complex NFL offenses get. They're all relatively the same. They really are. They probably have about 50 plays that are almost the exact same thing, just named differently. And then about 10, 12 plays that are different than everybody else. They're all almost exactly the same, especially if you've been playing football your whole life. There's only so many things you can do. Okay. Baker's been through this changing the entire time. And people say, well, Sam Darnold has an advantage. He's been there a year longer. Well, we have a new offensive coordinator. He has the same advantage Baker Mayfield does. Maybe a week more of talking to Ben McAdoo than Baker Mayfield, than Sam Darnold does. Sam Darnold is a far superior quarterback Baker Mayfield is a far superior quarterback to Sam Darnold. So in the end, when that comes down to it, Baker's going to come out on top. Like, he is used to this kind of stuff. He is used to changing every single year. So people who say he has the advantage or Darnold has the advantage because he's been there, you're dead wrong. Like, it's a different offensive coordinator. It's a whole new system. And can we really say that Sam Darnold got our system last year? Like, can we really say that? Because I don't think he did. Like 3 games, maybe, but after that, he kind of fell apart. I don't think he has our system.
Yeah, and you made the point that he's been around longer. He has more time with all the players on the team, and he's still lagging behind, dude.
Right.
Like,
right.
I was not a supporter of Baker Mayfield, and I still have the idea that I want to see him prove something before I'm like, oh, yeah, we're going to go a long way with Baker. I want to see it in a real game first, and I think that's fair considering what we've been through. But at the end of the day, I'm also not going to, pee on your leg and tell you that it's raining, right? Between the two of them, between Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield has pulled away. And this is not the last 2 days that beat reporters have been talking about this. I mean, this has been something that has been said for a long time now.
Right.
And I kind of feel like, I almost wonder if the Panthers are just absolutely regretting that Sam Darnold trade. Like, it's easy for us as fans to say that they do.
Yeah.
But, man, it really, really, really looks like they're regretting it, to the point that I'm actually gonna move to the next topic here because before we move on, I promised I showed some Matt Corral footage, so I got to be fair and give my man Baker some love because he deserves it, man. Like, he really has been out here balling, and it's time to show what Baker's been looking like. This is just an example. Let me move this. And this has just been today. But Baker has made a ton of plays like this. And by the way, the new victory celebration for DJ Moore, they're taking naps in the back of the end zone, bro. What? The audacity.
Do you think he's going to get more than 4 touchdowns this year?
Yes, I do. Without question, I just feel like Ben McAdoo's offense is going to put him in a position to be a time red zone.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, he's definitely starting to look better. Especially in the red zone. Like, that's one of the places where I think the Panthers have been bad on offense and defense the past few years. But Baker has been accurate. Baker has been really good in the red zone. And today, I believe he had the 2 or 3 touchdowns in the red zone and was really looking good. So
can we talk about DJ Moore for a second as well?
Yeah,
sure.
Because look at the speed he had getting in that corner on that, getting the edge on that defender. I don't know who that was diving for him, but also has it not? I know he got his contract right, but he feels like he's playing with a lot more energy, right?
just based on what we've seen in training camp. Like before, he's always been that quiet guy. Like, you know, it feels like he has been a guy. You know what I mean?
With last year, with how he looked last year, man, it seemed like he was holding back. Okay, and there were quite a few times where I get it. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect your health, that sort of deal. But it seemed like he wasn't leaving it all on the field. So, and I think with him getting paid in the offseason, I think that's what kind of changed everything. He's like, all right, I'm getting paid now, so I'll give you guys everything.
Did y'all see that when he fell down just now? Watch his throw. You can almost see him say it. And he's ready right here. Oh, thank goodness I have a quarterback to throw it to me. And
that looked like Frankie Louvu.
Thank goodness I have a quarterback to throw it to me.
Did we have him mic'd up there? Like, did he say, thank God for Baker?
No, I wouldn't doubt it. But no, we don't actually.
He's easy top 5 if he has a quarterback to throw to him.
We do have to take this stuff with a grain of salt too, right? We're in training camp. We're not taking reps against somebody who's game planned against this offense, knowing what Ben McAdoo's capable of, what Baker Mayfield's capable of, right? We're literally getting two sides of the same coin. The upper hand that the defense has had has been that this is an install that this has been the same defense, right? This is a new offense. So I think you're starting to see this offense hum and be a little bit more consistent. You'll have the days where defense wins and days where offense wins, but you know, it's starting to feel like the offense is starting to click. That's why I'm so, and I think John, you remedy this, or you'll echo this sentiment here. Saturday is going to be a just an incredible opportunity for us to see firsthand what these guys are able to do against real live action, because I think that we're going to have a lot of answers about what we're dealing with, because especially if we're playing it first against first, right? We're going to see what this offense is able to do with Chase Young, with that, you know, the Commanders defense, right? If they're able to hold things up, we'll know what we have there. If Icky's able to go in there and do anything against Chase Young, if he's playing on the right side, that is, or left side, technically.
I don't think we'll see Chase Young, but you know, they still got, you know, there's other guys on there, ones like Montez Sweat. I can't remember who their other primary defensive end is, but you know, the one thing I will say, what you mentioned about practice, Cody, is like, I wouldn't discount what we're seeing in camp. And the reason is because, and I know you're not, but like, you know, not trying to put too much stock into it, but like, the reason is because of what we're seeing around the NFL, other stories that are going on, and this kind of cohesion that you're seeing early transfers, right? Because like on Sunday, whatever you see do in practice during the, you know, week is how it's going to transition to Sunday. You're hearing about like guys like Mac Jones struggling because they don't really have
heavily, apparently.
Yeah, and a lot of that is because they don't have like a solidified offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? And so what's my guy, Trey Lance or whatever, out in San Francisco. Yeah, completion percentage, you know, like he's not accurate with his passes and things like that. So, and those aren't problems that we're necessarily seeing here, you know, in Carolina. And a lot of that is just predicated on McAdoo's offense as well, because it's such a, you know, get the ball out of your hands as quick as possible, you know, kind of offense. And when you have so many different playmakers, like you could see like a really, really big jump with not just, because not for nothing, man, like Sam can sometimes get the ball out of his hand really quick. But I think the difference between a Sam and a Baker Mayfield is like, I think it might have been John Ellis said this on Twitter today. He quoted Dante Jackson as saying something to the effect of, you know, Baker's a guy we really want to, you know, pick off because you just, you know, really want to rub it in his face because of how much trash he talks on the field. And that's infectious, man. Like that is super infectious. So I just think that it could be a pretty quick turnaround, in my opinion. And I think what we're seeing out here is going to transition really well to game day as well.
Right. Well, based on what you said right there, I read that article too, and you're right. Hearing Dante Jackson say that is fantastic to hear. I love having competition between offense and defense on the same team. Yeah. That means you guys are fighting to be the best.
Yes.
That's what I want to see. Like, I love that. I love Dante Jackson said that.
I think that fight between Cam Newton and Josh Norman in 15, 100%. That set the tone for the season. That 100%. Set the tone for the entire season.
Yep.
Right. I think yeah, 100%. And like I think I'm ready to move on from our constant comparisons of Cam Newton, but that is one thing that I'll say about Baker Mayfield is he doesn't shy away from talking to that defense and making them feel like, you know, Like the I don't know. It just feels like it's when Baker Mayfield's, if he's the quarterback, it feels like this is a team, right? When it's Sam Darnold, it feels like we're just a good defense trying to hold off, until our offense is able to do something.
Because that stuff matters, man. Like when you walk into any of your, I don't know about you guys, man, but I love being sold. I'll walk into a place sometimes and buy something even when I didn't intend to because I like being sold. Because what's the definition of a sale? The transfer of enthusiasm. If I got a guy that's out there like giving me heck from the other side, even if he throws a pick, Baker's done thrown picks in camp so far. I mean, he's been picked a couple of times. He's had times where he's gone out and went 1 for 4 or whatever like that. But it never changes. Like he's still keeping that enthusiasm, still keeping that energy and that that alpha mentality. And it changes things. It rubs off. Like when you're down, like I mentioned in that game against one of the games against Cincinnati. Joe Burrow was talking about this on a podcast. Baker started out like 0 for 4 and an interception. Then he came out and went like 25 for 25 and 4 touchdowns. Like you don't do that when you have that Darnold kind of mentality. You do it when you have that, I'm going to go out here, next rep. Don't worry about what happened before. Just keep going and moving forward.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I haven't been like Team Baker all the way, but I like that he's looking good. I especially if this is going to be our guy this year. I like that he's making strides. I'm still as excited forever about Matt Corral. That's my dude. But at the end of the day, Baker is the starter, and I do think that Matt Rhule is really kind of, he thinks that he's making all these decisions in the name of competition, and we gotta, get the best player out there. But a lot of times, you already know who the best player is, and now I think that he's just playing too many games. Yeah. And I really do think that it's hurting this football team.
Hey, your boy G Baby wilding in the chat, man.
Listen.
Always.
So look,
always.
So here's what we're gonna do. We got one more topic on the slide, and then we've got to get some cat calls, boys. We've got 20 different cat calls to get through, and that's just right now, man. So
it's an hour at least.
Yeah, so let's talk about this real quick. And then again, the calls will probably get on this. It was reported that the Carolina Panthers were shopping Sam Darnold. And we talked about this a little bit earlier. Is there even a market for Sam?
No.
Like, it feels as though that the Panthers are just so desperate to offload this terrible move that they know is terrible, that continues to prove to be terrible, that they're just trying to move on from this. The problem is you're paying this man, what, $18.5 million? You're paying Sam more money than you are any other quarterback on your roster. At this point in time, why wouldn't you just want him to be a glorified backup? Like, I don't want his ass here because that's a shorter bridge to Matt Corral. So I would love for him to be gone. I would be so happy if we traded Sam Darnold out of here. But the fact of the matter is, what are you going to get for him? Like, realistically, who is going to trade anything for Sam Darnold at this point in time? Like, the Panthers have no options.
Let's be real about it. Let's look at the Baker Mayfield trade, right? The Browns had no leverage, first and foremost, right? As far as being able to get him out, they knew that there was the teams trading for Baker knew that the Browns were going to either release him or trade him, right? So the leverage was not in the Browns' favor. But Baker was still like, even from a tape perspective, from a success perspective, from a leadership perspective, he was head and shoulders above Sam Darnold, right? Mm-hmm. Not legitimately because, Baker Mayfield's a bit shorter, but just from a talent and quality of player in this league and just what he's been able to show, regardless of whether he was on a good team or not, he was able to do it. Right. So the fact that we had basically got him for peanuts the way that we did doesn't bode well for our ability to get Sam Darnold off of our books. Right.
Agreed.
I don't even know that we would be able to tell a team that we'll eat $12 million of his $17 million salary if you guys trade for him. And, all we'll ask for is a 7th round pick in return, right? A 7th round pick, we'll eat 12 million, you eat 5 million, we get him off of our books for 5 million, and he's not on the roster, right? I think that would be a tough pill, like, for any team to even try to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because getting rid of a 7th round pick might not even be worth it, much less paying Sam Darnold the amount that they would end up paying him that year. On top of that, I don't know. Like I said, I'm of the mindset that this team is going to cut Sam Darnold, especially because I don't think the market is going to be there. And you can't have your backup making that much more than your quarterback. Let's be real about it, right? Like, you can't have Sam Darnold out here making, $5 million more than Baker Mayfield and him playing behind Baker Mayfield, right? It's just like,
unless Baker knows that's what he was coming into. If he knew that from the beginning, like he knew you're coming in, you're going to make less than this guy, beat him and take his money, that's the only way that works. And that's where I think we're at right now.
Well, there's still a possibility that we could trade Sam Darnold for a long snapper.
no.
I don't even know if anybody do that, to be honest with you. I think we're going to have to pay somebody to take Sam Darnold. This is
And
the last
yeah.
place Sam Darnold starts in the NFL.
Right.
I agree with that. But I do think that, it might be the last place he starts, but I think he'll be a good. I think he'll be I'm saying good relative, but a backup quarterback like that position is not. I mean, because you don't want a guy in the locker room that's necessarily fighting for the starter's job. But right. I do think Sam has value of being able to help people get prepared, and that's basically all the backup quarterback is.
Yeah, and and let's be real, I've got more of a vibe from Sam Darnold of those who can't do teach, right? And
yes,
so I
agree with that.
I could see Sam Darnold going post career as a player and becoming a coach and being a successful coach. I could see that happening, but I don't see him being the guy.
Well, CK, I get what you're saying there, but based off the fact that, like, I get it, people who can't do teach, but based off the fact that you couldn't even cut it even close as a quarterback, what makes anybody want to sign you to be a coach?
What do you mean?
Well,
have you seen Jim Harbaugh? Have you seen Doug Peterson?
Yeah.
I get that, but what does that have to do with Baker Mayfield? I'm just saying
about Sam Darnold.
I'm Sam Darnold. I'm sorry. I'm just saying if you're Sam Darnold and if you're a starting quarterback and you rank 50th of 32 starting quarterbacks, which there's not even 32 starting quarterbacks, what makes a team want to sign you to embark that knowledge on somebody else, to pass that knowledge along?
Your ability to play doesn't necessarily your knowledge may not translate to what your body is capable to do.
But I know what his body's capable of. He sees ghosts.
Right. Well, of course. I mean,
on the field.
Of course,
it doesn't mean he can't.
Field.
It doesn't mean that he doesn't have. He speaks pretty intelligently.
Mike Leach is an incredible college football coach. He never even played football.
Okay,
Matt Rhule.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Matt Rhule was a walk-on linebacker who never really saw the light of day as a player, and he was able to, do some incredible things in college as a coach. Now, as that translates in the NFLs, we'll wait to see that. But it's from that perspective, just because that or let's even go even further. Let's talk about Sean McVay. Let's talk about some of these incredible coaches that you could probably say didn't even play at a high level in college, right? Or never even played in college. Just was a part of the game from an early age to where they were a part of that. So I don't think you have to have
some of these Hall of Fame guys that get coaching jobs bomb out. What's my man Mike Singletary with San Francisco?
Right,
horrible situation. And Jim Harbaugh turns that team around. Yeah,
talking about Ron Rivera.
He was a backup to Mike Singletary.
He was a backup, and he was a better coach. He wasn't the guy who was at the top of the list. He wasn't on the depth chart. He's not going to be a Hall of Fame player, but listen, I mean, if you look at his accolades as a coach, he's got a argument to eventually be in the Hall of Fame one day.
And I get that. I'm just saying that when I look at things, and I'm trying to think of who's a guy we can bring in here to make our quarterback team stronger. Sam Darnold's not a guy I think of. In my mind, it's not even a guy that I even consider. But I'm not at that level either. So
yeah.
I could see him being a backup to a guy like Lamar. I mean, the thing is, with Sam, his legs are better than his arm is. So you would have to use him in an offense that's set up like that, and maybe the Ravens would be the best place for him.
Well, and it's like Sam's talented. Like, okay, Sam is probably physically one of the most talented rosters or quarterbacks on our roster. Like, if you take the brain part out of it and just take his arm, his build, his athleticism, like Sam Darnold has everything that you want to be a franchise quarterback, but he's missing that game bred energy, like that dog when the game is on the line.
Pressure crumbles him. He does not turn into it. Like pressure doesn't make diamonds when it comes to Sam Darnold.
Right. And I think that's been true for a lot of guys, man. You look at guys like Trent Dilfer, also the guy that's on ESPN.
Dan Orlovsky.
The chat room was just talking about Dan Orlovsky. There's been a bunch of guys that are, they're better served as analysts or what have you.
Tim Jenkins, our own Tim Jenkins, a friend of the show, Tim Jenkins.
Yeah, Tim Jenkins. And a lot of people are kind of mean to Sam. And I would say it like this. I'm sure Sam's a great guy. I'm sure I would love to hang out with him and have a beer. But, dude, just as a football player, he's not it, man. And Greg kind of alluded to it earlier. You might as well keep him because any other option means that you're going to be eating a whole lot of money, a whole lot of dead money for a player that ultimately isn't going to be on your roster.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're going to have to pay a part of that. Even if you trade him, you're going to pay a part of that, dollar amount that you've already agreed to pay him. So at the end of the day, the Panthers are just going to have to live with that mistake that they have made, and they really don't have much of a choice about it. But, ladies and gentlemen, I thought we weren't even going to be able to do the cat calls tonight, let alone be able to do 20 or 21 that I've got on deck for us right now. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's take your cat calls and see what the C3 fan base has to say.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Were like a thing, and I don't even necessarily know about maybe that's just cutting somebody and just buying them out their contract. Maybe that's just what that is. But
you're gonna have to tell me if you can hear.
I'm just thinking about our quarterback room and how there's no benefit to really having Sam Darnold on the team this year, and I don't see any viable option of us getting rid of him because nobody's gonna, no matter how well he plays in the preseason. No matter how well he may play, if Baker has to miss a couple of games, nobody's going to trade for, 1 year or half a year of Sam Darnold. Even I don't even see a contender who gets their starting quarterback injured in this emergency situation. I don't even see them trading for Sam Darnold because his contract's up at the end of the year. Nobody's going to do it. So, in that same realm, I like that. This is the big reason that people like me and Cody didn't really want to trade for Baker. Well, speaking for myself, trading for Baker, the biggest thing wasn't even the fact that I don't necessarily think that Baker is a great quarterback. It's that there was no way to get Baker while also getting rid of Sam, while also making sure that Matt Corral was gonna, get the looks that he needed to progress this year. Because it's with Matt Corral coming out, with him, working as hard as we've seen him work in training camp, kind of just doing everything that you want a rookie to do, I would not be surprised at all for Matt Corral to come out and look really good in the preseason against, third string defenses. Obviously he's going to have his struggles with nicks and bruises, but he can look really, really well. And we're going to watch Matt Corral make these plays in the preseason potentially, and literally sit there and know that there's going to be no chance that he's going to play at all this year. Now, if Sam wasn't on the team and we had Baker, we go into next year with Baker Mayfield, a rookie quarterback who we have really high potential of. Baker Mayfield contracting after 1 year. I don't expect Baker to play all 17 games. So then you would have Matt come in, get real live game reps. Now he's not going to get those reps over Sam Darnold. Now they're not going to put Sam Darnold at third string, making him $18 million a year. So, I mean, But what do y'all think, man? Is there any kind of realm possibility that to where, because the Panthers ain't going to just eat that money, to where we could possibly literally just have the two quarterback room that I think most fans want. Let me know what y'all think, man. Keep put out all the good content. Hey, what's good, fellas? It's Corey calling in.
Yeah,
listening to the.
Well, let me pause that. So, appreciate you, Corey. Shout out to you, man. And yeah, I like we kind of just talked about that. They're kind of saddled with Sam Darnold. Like there's really nothing else that they can do at this point. Like even if you got you cut him and you're gonna eat the money, or
gonna eat it anyway.
You know, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like that's why I said you might as well just keep him. Like
for what purpose? Like if he's not the starter, right? What like PJ Walker has been seen as a valuable backup for this team. He's won every game he's had to come in and start with, right? Now, has he been like a world beater? No. But what value does keeping Sam Darnold on this roster bring? You're already going to eat the $17-18 million regardless. What benefit do we get as an organization keeping him other than having him as a distraction on the as the second string?
So can I tell you why? And this is from the Panthers' perspective. As a fan, CK, I could not agree with you more. Like, get him out the door, man. Because like I said, that's a shorter bridge to Matt Corral. So ultimately, I agree with you. But I guarantee you the Panthers are looking at it this way. We know that they do not want to start Matt Corral. They want him to have a red shirt year. They want him to be able to sit and learn all the things that is required to be a quarterback. And I don't think they want to thrust PJ Walker in there either. Sam Darnold may not be showing the same type of promise as Baker Mayfield, but let's be real. Sam Darnold probably does have the talent level of a backup quarterback. And by the way, the Panthers went 3-0 last season with Sam Darnold under center. So to assume that you can't win some games with Sam Darnold, like we know that isn't true. You can win some games with Sam Darnold. So it's just because of the money, and they don't want Matt Corral to even have to fear playing any kind of football this year.
I think here's the thing. I don't believe that it's the money is a factor, and don't get me wrong, I believe that. But I believe the team, at least from the perspective of when you look around the league is not shy about the fact that they don't want a guy that's the backup that has potential to cause any type of dissension in the ranks, right? We've already seen it happen with Robbie Anderson once, right? So do we really want to have this like Sam Darnold? Like you've got to imagine right now in that offense, there are players that believe Sam Darnold is better than Baker Mayfield, right? Even though because they have a relationship with Sam Darnold, they've been with Sam Darnold for a year. Like even let's be real about it. Robbie Anderson was literally on Twitter saying, "Please don't bring Baker here," and he said it was in defense of his quarterback, right? And so now here's the thing: my reason for bringing that up is you keep Sam Darnold on this roster and you keep Baker Mayfield, you are bound to have some dissension in loyalties, right? That's a distraction, right? That's my personal opinion. Is get him out of the building. If you're not going to be putting him as the starter in this league, on this team, if you can't find a trade partner, cut him. You're already eating the $17 million. PJ Walker has been a good quarterback that's a backup. He's not a distraction, and it still allows Matt Corral to have that redshirt year.
I completely agree. And here's why I agree with you 100% is because if we had a coaching staff that we knew could handle that kind of personality conflict, then I wouldn't be opposed to keeping him on the team. Because we saw that whenever Alex Smith got hurt, Colin Kaepernick comes in and takes over. And then the weird optics of seeing a healthy Alex Smith on the sidelines, who just took you to an NFC championship a year prior, mind you, on the sideline with his helmet on the whole time instead of with a hat on or a earpiece, helping out Colin Kaepernick as a starting quarterback. But the difference is that they have a Jim Harbaugh and we have Matt Rhule. So I don't think that they have the kind of infrastructure in place to be able to handle that kind of potential conflict. Now, I think Sam's a little bit different of a guy. Like he'll probably just play the role that he's given in a lot of ways. But I'm like you, Cody. I just think it'll just be a lot of distraction, an unneeded distraction on top of that. And it takes away the out for Matt Rhule. It's like if you start seeing Baker Mayfield struggle, you don't want Matt Rhule to have an out to say, like, you know what, Baker Mayfield went, 0 for 5 through a pick. We go into halftime, because you don't know what this guy's going to do in the second half of a game, but you don't want to give him the out to come out and then start Sam Darnold right after that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm with you. Get him out the building.
Yeah. CK, I had one question right there when you brought up that Robbie Anderson comment about how he's behind Sam Darnold. Is this the same Robbie Anderson that as soon as Cam Newton got signed last year was behind Cam Newton and said, fuck Sam Darnold? Because if so, then I don't trust anything he says.
Or the same Robbie Anderson that was on a podcast saying that the best year that he had in his career of learning how to be a pro was with Teddy Bridgewater.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So can you really take this guy's word? Like, I mean, I think he's just saying whatever's popular at the time to be the guy that everybody likes. To be honest.
I mean, you can have that mindset, but you also got to keep in mind there's probably some reality behind Sam Darnold has some relationships with this offense that's already been here for the year that he was here, and Baker Mayfield just came in here a few weeks ago. Right, there's going to be loyalties that lie with Sam Darnold, and let's be real about the other aspect of this. Sam Darnold, if he loses the starting job to Baker Mayfield, that's a much more awkward situation in the quarterback room as well. Right, not just for Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, but now this power struggle that Matt Corral is going to have to sit here and watch. Like, it's not going to be like, do you think Sam Darnold's going to want to help Matt Corral after he just lost his starting position to Baker Mayfield? Like, I mean, there's no value that comes to Matt Corral by keeping Sam Darnold here.
Yeah, I agree. Nick has to leave us. Nick, I appreciate you hanging out with us, bro. Rare for you to be with us on the Tuesday show, so that's always a nice surprise, man. What was anything you got left for the show before you bounce out?
Well, first off, can't wait to hop on Friday again, man. It's always good seeing you guys, and preseason's right around the corner. And next week, I am going to the joint practice up here in New England, so I'm going to try to ask any questions I can of any of the players that come around. If they do, you guys have anything that you want me to ask, just let me know. I'll be on the show on Friday. But until then, guys, keep pounding. See you soon.
Good to see you, brother.
Pounding, man. Much love to our brother, Nick Montiero. We love that dude. He's the coolest. But yeah, man, look, we have a ton of voicemails, and we still got more coming in. So let's continue to power through these phone calls. And that didn't do anything. So next one.
Hey, fellas, Baby Rhino here, Tuesday. Give you guys a call because got something on my mind. The more I think about this, the more it's kind of a thorn in my mind. Sam Darnold does not need to be on this team. And as rumor has it, they're shopping around his contract. Nobody wants him, and nobody wants to pick him up. But the more he's on this team, the more it's like doing damage to our quarterback room. They say Baker's kind of running away with the competition or, just is looking better than Sam. But I just don't see the point. I don't see the point of him being there, especially to be number 2. I really do think that Matt Corral, for his development, I think he needs Sam to be gone. So I didn't know what you guys thought about that. I mean, I'm all game. At this point, he's guaranteed the money. At this point, I'm game for them paying him the man and just getting rid of him. I don't know if anybody's going to pick up his contract. So I was just thinking about, what your thoughts are on that. All right, boys. Everybody hit that like and subscribe button, and thanks for all you guys do. Keep pounding.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, fellas.
Appreciate
Baby Rhino.
you, man. Thank you so much for the call. Yeah, we've kind of answered that. I think we just spent the last 30 minutes talking about it. Hey, but do what my man said. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Shout out to Baby Rhino. We appreciate you, brother. If we get any repeat calls of like topics we've done,
we'll just probably move.
Yeah, we're probably gonna move on a little bit. Like I said, I just added 2 more calls. We're at like 20-something calls right now.
Let me say this real quick before we start having we get too far into this. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously we've been joined tonight by One Carolina. He also has his own content that he puts up. He just got back into it. So you guys do me a favor. Go show him some love on his channel. Hit that subscribe on his show and tune in when he's live. He'll have some VODs. He's very knowledgeable about the squad. But John, tell them where they can find you real quick.
Yes,
before
sir.
we start losing people.
Twitter, Instagram, and obviously YouTube. One Carolina, spelled out ONE Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Hey man, you know we love John. He's an honorary C3 member at this point, man.
Yeah.
People in the chat room love him, man. It's a great
appreciate it.
time every single time.
It's always
we
an
do
honor.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, for sure. All right. Let me keep track of where we're at, man.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? G Cavassier, man.
What
hey,
up,
I'm
G?
liking what I'm seeing from training camp, man. I really am. The only thing that pissed me the fuck off, y'all, what the fuck is wrong with Matt Rhule? Dude scored a daggone touchdown. He made the fucking team run laps. What the fuck is this, high school, man?
Oh, we do need to talk about this.
And I'm just saying it now. Baker's gonna be the damn motherfucking
Starter.
Quarterback, man. We wasting time with damn Sam Darnold, man. Because the rumor is they're trying to trade him, but nobody's gonna take on that 5th-year option. We all know that shit. Everybody know that shit, man. So give me your takes on that shit. And oh yeah, and Shy Smith is showing me something, man. He has shown me something. Keep pounding. Podcast brothers,
Shy
how
Smith
y'all
been getting
doing?
busy.
Oh yeah, man. Shy Smith has been doing his thing. I'm happy to see that, man, because he really he's been injured a lot. Matt Rhule mentioned that in his press conference. He's been hurt, so I'm happy to see him finally coming around. And real quick to Rook 06113 with the $10 love bomb, man. I appreciate you so much. He says, my inaugural super chat as a new Panthers fan following Baker from Oklahoma to Cleveland to Carolina.
Hey.
Question, are the Panthers North Carolina or South Carolina?
Both.
Hey, baby, we're both. We're both, man.
One
Tuesday.
Carolina, as John's.
Yeah, man.
That's right. You know, I
North
named my
Carolina.
channel that because, I mean, obviously that's a saying, you know, around here like crazy, but I'm from originally Asheville, North Carolina, but I currently live in Greer, South Carolina. So it's one Carolina, man.
But here, isn't that another reason that we should be excited about Baker Mayfield? Right? How many times have we had a USC fan come in here saying, like, I'm following Sam Darnold from the Jets to the Panthers?
Never, dude.
How many times have we had that with Baker already? Like, that
dude.
just tells you exactly what type of quarterback Baker
Look,
is.
man, so not even just the Browns fans, but like Oklahoma Sooner fans.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
They go hard, dude. They have been hard in the chat.
Yeah.
And they're showing love. And look, man, we welcome everyone here. If you're a Browns fan, if you're an Oklahoma Sooner fan, and you're just looking to follow Baker Mayfield's career, this is where you want to be, man, because we're going to talk about all the ins and outs of Baker's performances. We're going to be doing the post-game show this year right after every single game. A lot of Baker's fans are waiting to show me up, you know, and show me how wrong I've been about Baker Mayfield this entire offseason. And again, I like the dude. I just want to see some results. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that's even too much to ask.
No, it's not. And I'll say this much for the super chat and anybody who's willing to donate, we always appreciate that. But you don't have to. As you can see, we constantly cycle all that stuff out. But if you guys want to support the show, feel free. We do have some stuff coming down the pipeline when the beginning of the season happens. You know, that will offer a lot more incentives to support the channel in a less demanding way than super chats. But yeah, just be on the lookout for that stuff. But we do appreciate you guys if you're willing to support the channel in that way.
Very much.
Thank you. We've got some irons in the fire. We're doing some big things over here at C3. Like I said, donations are never required, but they're always appreciated. And all that money goes back in to building this channel up and being a premier destination for Panther fans to come and chill and hang out. And one of the biggest areas of pride, for me at least, when it comes to this podcast, is fans of other teams that stick around even after they're done playing us. Like, they just like to come and hang out here for the vibes. I appreciate y'all too, man. That's for damn sure. Definitely appreciate y'all. Let's jump in. Oh, no, before we go on, let's talk about Matt Rhule making – what did he do? He made the offense run laps after reaching across the goal. So our offense, to provide some context, we scored a touchdown. It was a big-time offensive play. Everyone was freaking out. And then Matt Rhule freaked out on the offense because they were reaching the ball over the goal line. And that's something you shouldn't do. Granted, in the NFL, if you do fumble the ball, through the goal line, that's a touchback, and the other team gets the ball.
Yeah.
Noted.
Well-
But like during training camp, when your offense is finding a rhythm, like it just seems embarrassing. And then other beat reporters and from other teams and other publications started talking about this is the guy who's never won anything and just talking about celebrating too much. It really kind of picked up a lot of traction that I didn't expect it to. What do you guys make of that? Is this Matt Rhule
It's
doing
nothing.
too much, or do you like the fact that he's trying to teach that discipline to our offense early on?
I hate the fact that it became something that was thrown out of context so quickly. Right? Everybody jumped onto this and they were thinking it was like he was just reaching the ball across. Like they thought it was because he celebrated too hard. And we're like, we're not a team that celebrates, right? We're not a team that reaches the ball across the goal line. I did want to say something about that. Like that was a very stupid question because like it makes me want to think like because we're not scoring touchdowns. Is that what you mean? Is that why we're not like? Do you mean like we're not because we can't, or philosophically we're not? Anyway, but this and John talked about this earlier. And for those new to the chat, basically last year there was a scenario where the same player. What was the last name again? I can't remember.
Rashard Higgins.
Rashard Higgins. Yeah. He was reaching across the goal line and he fumbled. And that was decidedly a very impactful play that changed the tide of the game.
In a playoff game.
In a playoff game, right? Not with us, right? But it was a big deal. And so when that happened, it basically it was the Browns, right? On the Browns when it was Baker and he on that squad. Basically and he fumbled and that basically changed the tide. That could have been another win for the Browns to propel them into potentially the Super Bowl that year. Right. Yeah. But so that's the context behind it. He was reaching the ball across the goal line to try to get the touchdown, putting that extra effort in. I think we all would probably say that's not a bad thing, but from the context of what Matt Rhule wants, he wants us to have ball security. That's something we didn't have last year. We had way too many turnovers, and the idea of making the ball, putting the ball in a position, we would much rather have the ball on the 1 yard line and potentially get a score that way than have a turnover on the 1 yard line. That is a touchback for them to be able to now have even like work. Like, so if it's the fourth down, reach the ball across the line, try to do that. Right. And that's where a lot of people are saying there's a discrepancy between what was it Tommy Tremble or Ian Thomas did? I can't remember who it was that was trying to reach the ball.
It was Tommy Tremble, but it's situational.
It's a completely different situation.
It was fourth down when Tommy Tremble, they were simulating a fourth down. You want to reach the ball to the goal line because guess what? Even if you do fumble, they get the ball on the 20. He didn't get in the end zone, so they get the ball on the 5. So like in that situation, you want to do it. I just think that a lot of times, like anything that Rhule does is going to get taken and chewed up in the media and stuff like that. True. Because you're right, he hasn't won anything. If he was a winning football coach, this would be a non-story. Like from a media perspective, even on Twitter, it'd have been a non-story.
Yeah, if this was Tomlin or Pete Carroll or Belichick, it wouldn't be talked about. And it's definitely amplified that it is Matt Rhule. And I think Legacy Lynn, she makes a great point here. Rhule forgets he's not dealing with college kids. Exactly. Has to learn to treat them like grown men and communicate with them. And I do think he's tried to get better at this. But again, it's a lot of these college tendencies that kind of bleed over into it that just kind of leaves everybody scratching their head.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry, Daddy.
No, you're good. I was going to say the bottom line is I want a guy stretching for that touchdown, period. I'm not going to tell a guy, don't do this because you might fumble. Well, then don't drive because you might wreck, to be truly honest with you. But every play I have, I'm putting forth the fullmost effort to make a touchdown, to make the best play I can. If it causes a turnover, it causes a turnover. It's a chance you take. But let's be clear. It's not a turnover if the ball crosses the plane. So if you're extending out and just the tip of the nose crosses the plane, it doesn't matter if you fumble or not.
Right. The ball has to fumble across.
So yeah, you have to fumble before you have to lose control before you cross the plane. Okay. So I'm telling my guy every time, especially from a guy who's never won anything, don't talk to me about winning. I am stretching my arm out to try to score that touchdown, period. If I fumble, I fumble. But I'm trying to score the touchdown. 95% of the time, worst case scenario is you're on the 1 yard line. Like you rarely see a fumble at the 1 yard line because somebody's trying to stretch it out.
Yeah.
So statistics say, well, no, you can probably call out 5 or 6 times. I'm not gonna lie, you probably can easily. But I could probably go back and look at film and show you 1,000 times it didn't happen. So that's the difference. I'm always taking the better statistical chance.
But to the point,
I'm trying to win games.
To your point, I do agree with you. Like I think that the right thing to do. The football player in me says reach your arm over the goal line. The coach in Matt Rhule, who, like we said, you said you've seen it 1,000 times. Well, Teddy Bridgewater in Green Bay, that was under Matt Rhule's watch. Rashard Higgins now in Carolina with a player that did it in a divisional champion or a divisional game that could have decided that game. It happened to that guy. Now he's on our team. So I guess it is situational because he wouldn't do that to Cam Newton.
Right.
But why? Because Cam Newton doesn't fumble at the goal line. Cam Newton's got humongous arms.
There you go.
Humongous hands. So, he's got a better grip on the ball.
But Rashard Higgins has done it. So,
and he's
like,
not. And look, this is the crazy thing. It's not the first time. Like, this is not the first time that he's done that. That's what's interesting.
So if it's habitual like that, I can totally understand. You're right. If you show a habit of doing this, I get that. That's a good point. But for the most part, I just feel like go for it.
Yeah. Again, another $10 love bomb from Rook. He says, disagree all you want, but hear me out. Maybe more college coach minded will do better with Mayfield. Seems like that type of guy to me. And by the way, Baker Mayfield has been very glowing about Matt Rhule, even saying that he's finally happy that he's with an offensive mind. So, I mean, okay, man. I like that. I like that everybody's on the same page. I don't know how much I believe it, but we'll see, man. We'll see. There's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts.
Right.
It's definitely going to be interesting. But let's get some of these cat calls done.
Hey, fellas, it's Jason calling from Colorado, Mile High Panther on the Discord. It's been a long time since I've called in. Last time I called, we were talking, I brought up Deshaun Watson, and I felt like after hearing everyone's position last week on the podcast, I felt like the timing was right, because I think that moving forward, we've both kind of, hearing everyone talk about, last week, Tony said that Deshaun was kind of like a shameful thing to be a part of. And so I think that in that regard, you kind of see where I was coming from. But I also kind of was able to grow as a fan in that I'm able to separate the ownership's views from the organization. And I've been able to kind of understand how the ownership, who are all just a bunch of billionaires, they're going to, to expect them to act, morally and with above reproach is kind of unrealistic. And so I'm able to separate that from what I'm supporting with my support as a fan. So I think that we both kind of come to understand each other's perspective there. So I just wanted to, get back in the calls and, I'm really excited for this season. I think Frankie Luvu has potential to become an all-pro. I think that an accurate comparison has been Demario Davis. So I think I'm running out of time. So anyways, keep pounding y'all. It's good to be back. I hope I love what y'all are doing with the podcast and the short form stuff and the beat check and all that. So keep it up, guys. Keep pounding.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, fellas, this is Jason calling.
Appreciate you. CK, go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I had spoken to that, not too long ago, and actually cited some of the Milehead Panther stuff. Like, we all should be a bit, if you have anything that's a problem with what Deshaun Watson's done, what the league has done, or any potential punishment only being 6 games, if you think it should have been worse, right? Just keep in mind our team was fighting for him, right, and was willing to pay a hefty price for him. Right. And so there's only so much you can sit here and look at the Browns and say how much of a joke that organization is. You can try that all you want. Right. But we were in that race just along with them. Right. So you can't put that. So, and I think that's where Mile High is talking about. We're all kind of coming around to that mindset. Like, we feel like we've dodged a bullet. We feel like that would have been, talk about a distraction. This Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield stuff is a drop in the bucket compared to what the Cleveland Browns are having to deal with right now. Between Kareem Hunt asking for a trade to the whole Deshaun Watson debacle happening, like this, it's going to be tough to be a player on that squad for probably the next year and a half to 2 years. But that's my mindset when it comes to it. I agree with what Mile High, like it was, and in that moment, I didn't necessarily understand. I respected what for those who didn't know, I'll kind of put some context into it. Basically, it was in the height of the Deshaun Watson race, right? And there were a lot of people in the fan base that did not like the idea for Deshaun. And got him. You know, we were talking, there was a lot of discussion about whether they should have gotten him and all that stuff. And there was a point that was made that Mile High, I respected his decision. He said he was no longer going to, support the Panthers because there was clearly a disconnect between their morals and his. And so he made that decision, and I respected that in that moment because I think that that's something that is hard to do when you're talking about a team that you've supported for so long. But and he's come back to it because we have moved on, and I think he's realized that even this organization probably feels like they've dodged a bullet. And so that's where that context comes from that phone call.
Yeah. And, hey, real quick, I saved this comment, and just because I thought it was real cool. Shout out to Daniel Castro. He's been listening while working in a crane 40 feet up. Or he says 40 feet up. I don't know if it's a crane.
A lift, yeah.
That's pretty damn cool. He says, I think it's fine for Sam to stay. He's not a big personality. Or even bitter. He should be ready if Baker goes down. And that's really kind of what a lot of people think about that too. But let's continue with the calls. And if I end up playing a call over again, just tell me.
D3 Paisans, how you doing? Muscles Marinara here. Might remember
What's
from
up,
the
Muscles?
Cats. I'm there occasionally when I can be. I really don't got a lot to say, but I just want to voice an opinion right now. Been to a few training camps. I got a restaurant down here in Spartanburg, so kind of easy for me to get over there. I don't know what the fuck this Baker Mayfield thing is going to play out to be, but I do know one thing. I'd rather get punched in the fucking yam bags repeatedly by Mike Tyson than watch Sam Darnold take another fucking snap in a Panther uniform. All right? That shit was painful last year, boys. Okay, we all remember the Jimmy Clausen era, right? It was kind of similar to that, but not really, but almost. I broke 2 TVs last season, technically. Not really. I threw dog toys at the TV. Didn't break it, but still. You get my fucking point. All right? I don't know.
He said yam bags.
I get it. We owe him a lot of money, but fuck. I don't know if it's the dude's face, his stupid fucking haircut. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just painful. Fucking shit. Anyway, boys, you stay saucy. I'll catch you later.
First, can I
C3
you don't have to put this in the chat if you're not comfortable, because obviously we all like the anonymity of the internet, especially with what was it, Muscles Marinara?
Yeah, we know that guy. I know him on Twitter. He's in the chat. Yeah, that's Muscles. Shout out Muscles.
Yeah. So first, I would like to know the name of your restaurant because I plan on going to Spartanburg next year. Also, you must be very happy that this whole headquarters thing fell through, because it's going to probably guarantee that at least for 2 weeks out of the year, you're going to have a lot more, business down that direction for at least the coming future until we find out what they're going to be doing. Because otherwise, if they had built that headquarters, it might have been a bit tough. But I would like to be able to come down there and check out the restaurant next year if you're willing to. Maybe even DM us and tell us what that restaurant name is.
Definitely.
Hey, well, I mean,
dude, I'll come sooner than that. I live in Greer, bro. I'll come check you out very soon.
No, Muscles is in the chat room. Muscles, drop the name of your shop. We have a bunch of people already. Monster Subs.
Ooh, okay.
Monster Subs in Spartanburg. Y'all go check out my man Muscles Marinara. Appreciate the call, brother. And yeah, you're right, dude. No one's trying to see Sam Darnold do shit for the Carolina Panthers, man. We're trying to move on, and it's hard to do so when, also we want to see Matt Corral.
Yeah, I've heard of this restaurant. Yeah, I know exactly where this is. They got a super, super good rating on Google, too.
Oh, hey,
yeah.
Check out
yeah.
Monster
Oh, yeah, I'm coming
Subs,
I might grub hub you tomorrow, dog.
There you go.
Yo, shit, Mustard, you might need to sponsor us, bro. Shit, what's up?
I might need a sponsor. I was thinking like, I was going to look it up and everything before I set it online. But with those reviews, I'm sitting here thinking like we try to plan something as far as like a meetup for next year's training camp or something for
That
C3
would be
Faithful.
dope, man. That would be incredibly dope.
And that'd be good for his business too if he's
Muscles.
down for it. But
2 days, we're at the thing tailgate party. There you go.
Oh shit! You're right. Well, he's gonna be having to drive a while for that food.
2 days,
and it's on like 2 days notice for sure.
That's true.
Yeah,
true.
man. We're gonna maybe we'll bust down and Spartanburg and go to Monster Subs and eat some good ass food. Let's go to the next phone call again. If I play it over,
this is Panther Pickle. First of all, I want to say I don't trust Matt Rhule, but I do trust James Campbell. So I thoroughly believe that Matt Rhule's getting all his information about the offensive line and maybe other positions strictly from the position coaches. So if James Campbell says Icky's ready to start at left tackle, he'll start. If he says he's not, then I don't want to start him. Because the last thing we need is Icky to give up a sack or a couple sacks to Myles Garrett and Baker Mayfield gets carried off the field and out for several weeks or longer, and we got Sam slamming Darnold as our starting quarterback. So Icky shouldn't start until he's ready. Also, I want to throw this out there. Folks, if you need to know how you can watch the preseason games, check out NFL Plus on NFL.com. You can get it for $5 a month. They've got per year plans or monthly plans, and they start out at $5 a month. Okay, that's cheaper than a Happy Meal at McDonald's. Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Hey, yeah.
Dude, that
this
NFL
is
Plus
Panther
is so
Pickle.
irritating, dude. That NFL Plus is like irritating to me because I'm ready for them to go ahead and just pull the cord on this NFL Sunday ticket bullshit that's been going on DirecTV for the longest time. I haven't had DirecTV and I can't like in a years, right? And I live in Roanoke, Virginia. For those not familiar, that's just about an hour away from Greensboro. And that means I'm about 30 to 40 minutes away from actually having the Panthers football as opposed to the Commanders football. Unfortunately, I'm in the commander side of the of that broadcast map that you see. So I don't have the Panthers on my schedule, right? And so when I saw that NFL Plus come across my screen, I'm like, let me go check this shit out. I think it's gonna be happening. No, it's just showing you your local television. That's it. Like, that's so irritating to me. and so I'm ready for that. And I think it goes up at the end of this year. And I think it's next year that DirecTV no longer has NFL Sunday ticket and there will be an open bid.
It's actually Apple, I think, already won that bid.
Did they win it? I know that there was the amount of money that it was between them and I think
Amazon.
Apple. No, I thought another player was in it too.
Amazon is Thursday.
Yeah, because I thought Bezos is like dropping a ton of cash.
Yeah,
to NFL deals. Like, I thought Amazon was the big. It wasn't really confirmed that Apple is the.
I heard that today, but I don't know. I don't know how valid that is.
I know that they've been linked to the idea of buying or trying to get it for Apple Plus
Apple
or Apple
does,
TV.
MLB, they do baseball now too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a market that I think has been largely untapped, and I think that they're realizing that the DirecTV Sunday to NFL Sunday ticket has been losing DirecTV so much money that it's not going to lose streamers because you don't have to sit there and pay for the bullshit, the scam that is DirecTV, by the way. Anyway, you know, it's if you guys have never had, I used to work for Wells Fargo, and I can tell you more often than not. DirecTV was the reason for people's accounts going overdrawn because of bullshit that has not like that. It should never have happened than anything than any other company that on the face of the planet. I will never have DirecTV, and that's put me at a disadvantage. And this NFL Sunday ticket I'm hoping it puts them out of business because at this point in time, I'm over it. And I'm sorry for anybody who's maybe an employee of DirecTV in the chat. I don't intend for you to be homeless.
Well, they probably. I mean, if we're. Well, never mind. I won't go. So look, we'll do.
Stop.
Well, let's do 2 more calls. Then we'll finish out the rest of our slideshow, and then we'll finish out the rest of the calls that we have after that.
C3, what's up, my boys?
What's up, man?
What's up?
No,
what's good, bro?
Fanfest is coming up. I'm ready for that. I really want to go, but I can't be able to go because not school, but open house that day. But yeah, I think the Carolina Panthers are kind of doing a stupid move with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield with splitting the reps. I think that, Baker Mayfield should get most of the reps in, and I think he is going to be the Carolina Panthers QB. I think that Sam Darnold is going to be a bench warmer. He's just going to warm the bench up for them. And, I think after that, I think Matt Rhule can come in and take the job, because Matt Rhule has a lot of potential. And he is our quarterback, and he's my quarterback. So, yeah, I think they're doing a kind of stupid job with that.
Tell him, Noah.
I mean, everything looks amazing. Baker is, Darnold did have some interceptions. They both have interceptions, That's a quarterback, they're not going to always throw the ball right. But I think that Baker has more flaws in with the O-line. I think he would have way more flaws. And Ike Ekwonu, I don't know if I touched on this the last time, but I know I think that Brady Christensen may be the starter. Why I say that is because I heard I was listening to what Matt Rhule what's the name press conferences, and he was talking about how Ike has like a lot of talent, but he has like he don't have, I forget the name of it, but formation. He don't have a good formation. And I was just saying, wow, I think he is going to play, especially in the preseason. And I think he do play the 13th against the Washington Commanders. I can't wait for that game. But yeah, keep counting. Noah's out. Peace.
That's cool.
C3, what's up, my boys?
Keep pounding. Appreciate you, Noah. And yeah, man, look, dude, I'm telling you, man, this is younger generation of Panther fans. They know what's up, man. They really know. One is shout out Matt Corral. He's already on the Matt Corral train. I like that. And then he said that Brady Christensen might end up being the left tackle, man.
Yeah.
Noah, I tend to agree with you, man. I think it could very easily move that direction. I will be very upset that if me getting my wish of Brady Christensen playing a left tackle comes at the expense of Kim Ekwonu seeing the field this year, dude, that would really make me upset. I'm talking very upset.
You mean Icky doesn't play at all because of that?
Yeah, like it seems as though the fact that they haven't given Kim any reps at left guard, like if anyone's going to be switching position, it's Christensen. Because they've had a few reps of Icky at left tackle and Christensen at guard.
Mm-hmm.
They never do it the other way around. So if their only view is that Kim Ekwonu can only be the left tackle, well, then it's either him or Christensen. Maybe, I don't know. It's not outside of the realm of possibility that at the left tackle position, Christensen might be a little bit ahead of them. Go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, I don't care if the Panthers go 11-6 this year without Icky starting. If he does not start or does not play on the field this year, then Matt Rhule needs to be fired at 11-6.
Oh yeah,
100%. Seriously, fired at 11-6. I'm sorry, dude. If you went 11-6 without him starting, you could have gone 13-4 with him starting. Yeah. Like, there's no way you don't start your number 6 pick. Was it? There's no way. Like, you're an idiot if you don't.
I like I said, I can't remember. It might have been John Ellis or somebody who had spoken with a scout for like another team, and they feel like this organization is being like they don't understand. They're so confused by the way that Matt Rhule's running things, right? The idea that a number 6 draft pick has to earn a starting spot, right? He earned the starting spot by being good enough to be a number 6 draft pick in the NFL draft. The most elite players coming out of college. He was number 6 off the draft board, number 1 left tackle in the entire NFL or in the NFL draft, right? On many people's draft boards, he was the top tackle. At the end of the day, if he isn't worthy of a starting position, then you need to reevaluate your scouting department or your coaching abilities, because that's irritating to me. At the end of the day, number 6 on the draft board should be what earned him a starting position, period.
You're drafted as a franchise player at number 6. Sorry. Good.
And the fact that it could be Michael Jordan that we're choosing over Kim, if that's what they end up doing, that is, dude, the only way you like that is if you're a member of the 4-man rush. Because the 4-man rush dudes, they love them some Michael Jordan, and they will proudly let you know how much they love this dude. So yeah, that would make me upset, man. Truly.
Hey, I'll go a step further. Greg, you talked about Matt getting fired at 11-6, but if we come out and lose week 1, week 2, and Icky's not in that lineup, unless he has a compelling reason, I mean, it would have to be it can't just be him. It cannot just be him. It would have to be Campen. It would have to be McAdoo. But if they don't have a compelling enough reason, I don't think he lasts to week 4.
Oh, I'm down. Let's do it.
I think he's got at least halfway through the season. I think it's going to be 8.
But not starting Icky, man. Like, especially this is what I don't understand in the head scratcher when it comes to this kid. Like, if you're not starting Icky, I understand people talk about like, well, he just needs reps, things like that, or he needs to learn, play. Because I said that earlier. But then I got to thinking, I was like, man, what about Rashawn Slater last year? What about Creed Humphrey? What about
Trey Smith? Trey Smith in the 6th round.
In the 6th round. What about Charles Cross this year? Evan Neal.
The argument. Yes, the argument in the chat. Panthers. I'll say this is an argument. He stated that San Francisco traded up to 3 to get Trey Lance and sat him a year ago. So I guess Shanahan is a college quarterback too, or college coach too.
But that's a
different It's a different situation.
Yeah,
100%.
Jimmy G was a good quarterback.
2 Super Bowls.
Right. He was. You're not talking about a guy who he came at he didn't start over. Jimmy G was it's not like he's Michael Jordan or Cam Irving, right? At the end of the day, that's not what happened. We drafted that position because we needed it. The San Francisco 49ers did not need a quarterback at that time. They had Jimmy G at the helm. They just saw a need that in the future they were going to need it. They're doing what they should be doing, which is they're a good team with a lot of talent, and they're planning for the future. That's what they did there.
Mm-hmm.
And they moved up knowing that they would be able to sit Trey Lance for a year.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The Carolina Panthers don't have the luxury with how bad their offensive line has been. You have no excuse for not fielding the best possible 5 starting lineup that you have.
Right.
And we all know who those 5 guys are. It's Brady Christensen, Ikem Ekwonu, Bradley Bozeman, Austin Corbett, and Taylor Moton.
Yeah. I don't even have to see them play, and I know that.
Right. And the fact that Pat Elflein and Michael Jordan were so bad last year, and Matt Rhule is still trying to force feed them on this offensive line, it just makes no sense to me. I don't understand it for the life of me, man. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Last call, and then we will continue with the rest of the slideshow and then finish out the cat calls.
What's up, guys? It's Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster, what's up?
My thoughts, first off, Carolina just released as far as the opening depth chart, and I'm seeing a lot of people that are sitting there freaking out, for example, like regarding our offensive line. And I saw Cody actually was one of them. Over the past several years, we've had a serious issue as far as offensive line injuries. I think last year the amount of combinations we had was closer to about 20 different combinations and everything because it was fucking excessive.
23.
But this year, so I see Icky's not getting a start as far as first team. I'm not tripping about that because one of the issues that we've had, like I said, as far as injuries and everything like that, why would you sit there? Why are you going to play as far as like your key players and everything in a meaningless game? Preseason absolutely has nothing to do with as far as what happens as far as during the regular season. So I'm just like I don't understand what the huge issue is. You know what I mean? I'd rather sit there. Okay, all right, let somebody who's trying to play their way even onto the roster, let them go ahead and do what they're going to do. This person is trying to just make the fucking team, and you know what I mean. People are just tripping about it. But let me know if I'm just going crazy or that's just my thoughts and everything. You guys keep doing what you're doing. Make sure you like the podcast, hit the subscription and everything. Appreciate you guys. What's up, guys?
All right, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
All right, so I don't think that what that caller said is crazy. And I like that you highlighted JD54's comment. He said, but what if MJ outplayed Icky and BC at guard? How would it look to give a guy the job simply because he was drafted high? I will say this to that point. I don't, outside of Sam Darnold, and I'm not necessarily being fair to him, but at the same time, bad tape is bad tape. And it goes back. He takes too many risks, too many big mistakes. But can we truly say with what I mentioned in the pre-show, you know, where Chris Sims came out and said that, you know, he could sit down and watch tape with any one of us and look at Joe Brady's offense last year and say, like, at least 7 different times he's seen the same play. And it's not like we were gashing teams with this play. It was like the same thing over and over and over and over again. He also mentioned how there was no cohesion to the offense. Could it be that Michael Jordan may be a guy that would do better in a McAdoo offense in a more structured system? I mean, that is something we have to consider, I guess, because of how you see the depth chart coming out. And if Campen truly is the guy making the decisions, then they might be onto something. I don't know. I want to see Icky because of how high he was drafted personally, but it won't be the first time or the last time that we drafted somebody this high and they weren't immediately effective. So,
but also, look, JD is my guy. JD, did you actually think that's what's happening? And hey, maybe you do. That's fine. But like, does anyone think that Michael Jordan is like really outperforming out here? I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded because of how bad that season was last year. But I don't know, man. Like,
there were a few times last year where I saw him make a few pretty substantial blocks at the guard position. Like, but is it enough to say that he's better than this 6th-round guy who, like Cody said, he proved himself to be drafted that high? I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait to see it play out.
I think that draft picks can be deceiving, or position can be deceiving. I mean, granted, everybody is always going to fall to the one example of Tom Brady, you know, but let's be real. Okay, if Drew Bledsoe never gets injured, you never hear Tom Brady's name ever. You will probably never, ever hear that name ever. He'll play 3 or 4 years as a backup quarterback, maybe get traded, maybe have success somewhere else. But honestly, this game is all about chance, man. Like, and I like what you're saying right there. Like, maybe he's not the best guy for the spot that we're in. But based on what we know, I feel like based on the knowledge we have, the only thing we can go off of, I make this argument with Matt Corral when Cody talks about with college. The only thing we have to go off is college. So if Icky was far superior in college than anybody else, start that guy. You know, if it doesn't work, then you can adjust from there. But I feel like with the draft pick you have there, I feel like if you invest that draft pick that high into that position, there's no way you can't start him to see if he works. He may be a bust. He very well may be, but you've got to see, because you draft top 10 to be franchise/Hall of Fame players. Period.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't get that out of there, I'm sorry. If you don't get a franchise/Hall of Fame player out of top 10 picks, it is kind of a bust.
And don't we agree with Nook here that first round picks are supposed to play immediately. Like
Yes,
outside of what we
agree.
talked about, outside of what we talked about, like if you have a quarterback that you know you're going to sit a year, fine, that's whatever. But literally any other position, if you're drafting them in the first round, you're expecting them to play. Like I've always heard it said, like you envision that rounds 1, 2, and 3, you're going to get guys that are probably going to be able to start for you. And then rounds 4 through 7, they're developmental. You're seeing if one day these guys might be able to turn into something. And I just feel like, and it is early. I don't want to completely freak out about it because especially lately, they have been giving Kim a lot more reps at left tackle. And again, I don't care. Like Brady Christensen playing left tackle is not my hill to die on, even though I'd prefer it. I want every single talented player on this team to play football at the same time on this line. And if that means Icky at left tackle, Christensen at left guard, I'm all for it, man. Just get them out there, dude. That's all I'm saying, man.
Agreed.
And by the way, we're at 333 viewers and 209 likes. Ooh. If everyone hit the like, dude, we would have more likes than viewers, dude. That would make us the king of the algorithm, boys. Let's do that. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. But this algorithm is our algorithm, damn it. It does what we tell it to do.
We make this algorithm our bitch.
Yeah, that's right, bro. C3 Panthers podcast. We run this fucking algorithm. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Boys, this is something that went around like wildfire this morning. Roquan Smith is done with the Chicago Bears. And we just got done saying earlier how, or at least I did, how our linebacking core is probably the most deficient out of any other core on our roster. So I'll just post it out there to y'all. Does trading for Roquan Smith make sense for the Carolina Panthers right now? Not everybody.
I don't think that there is going to be I don't think that we're going to. I don't think they're actually going to trade him. I think this is another sort of like Deebo Samuel thing. I think players are seeing that by requesting a trade, they're getting the deals that they want, like Deebo Samuels did, and so I think they're potentially following suit from something that has worked for another player. I don't know that he actually wants to leave. Now he may not like what they're doing over there on the defense or whatnot, but I think it has more to do with contract, and I think the Bears are going to pay him, and he's going to be there.
So, but before you go, Greg, let me just add to this conversation that if you do, you're looking at having to pay him around $19 million a year.
Yeah, too much.
That, like if you go to Spot Rat, that's what you're looking at. By the way, we have yet to pay Brian Burns or Jeremy Chin.
Right.
So consider that also when factoring in your decision here. Go ahead, Greg.
I was just going to say, I don't know the deal with Roquan Smith. I know that if you're not done with your contract and you're trying to get out of where you're at, for me personally, that's the immediate red flag. I just don't respect a sports player who can sign a contract saying I'm going to play for you for X amount of time, and then halfway through it or a couple years into it, whenever you decide you don't think you can win here, I want to go somewhere else. I don't respect that. So if there's a guy who's like that wants to come, that even if he says I want to play for the Panthers, dude, if you got 2-3 years left in your contract, be a man and play those out. And
well, but all right, to play devil's advocate though. And maybe Bat Daddy, you're the stat daddy. Maybe you can start. Maybe you can pull this up while we're talking about it. Jay Young says, "Look up Roquan's numbers before you speak. Very similar to Luke." So let me ask y'all this: if Roquan Smith is the kind of player that we've been looking for at that Mike linebacker position,
right,
and you factor in Brandon Smith and Shaq Thompson, could you not make the case that it might be worth it? Because that is part of what he talked about in his statement. He's like, I've kicked ass for the Bears. I've been doing everything that I've been instructed to do, and I'm just not getting paid like the type of player that I am. So if he is the missing piece of our defense, is that financial commitment, could it be worth it?
I would have to know the player, because to be truly honest with you, I've seen plenty of players in different leagues and even in the NFL who have been phenomenal where they're at and feel like they're not getting what they deserve. Then when they go somewhere else, they shit a brick. And it's like, well, I mean, Odell Beckham, honestly, to be honest with you, is the first thing that comes to mind. Really didn't play well in Cleveland at all. Lucked into a Super Bowl in LA, but didn't deserve it.
Right.
So players like that, I mean, you're always taking a chance. For me though, I look at red flags, and for a guy who's wanting out of his contract before he's done with it is a red flag for me. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Doesn't mean it's not going to work out. It's just something in my mind that immediately throws up, well, why are you not honoring your commitment? And if you're not honoring your commitment there, what makes me believe you're going to do it here? What if you come here 2 years and you don't like where you're at and you decide you want to go? And we paid you
the part that's tough is like, yes, I think there's certain levels of that, but you got to keep in mind, I mean, the thing that sucks is let's look at maybe even I'm trying to think of a good one. Let's talk about JC Horn for a moment. Let's see if he comes out here and he is an all pro, like just blowing things up. Like he's like a top 5 cornerback. Well, he's going to be paid as though he is a, bottom 5 in the league on a rookie contract, as for putting that type of production out for potentially 3 more years. Right. And so like his mindset is like, if you value me, if you think that if I'm outperforming my contract, then I think that there should be some benefit to me, at this point in time. It's sort of like going to your job and just blowing it out of the water and expecting them to only give you a raise after 3 years, right? Like you've just made them so much money. You've given them everything you had. And honestly, you're taking time off of your career, right? I don't disrespect what he's doing. I think that maybe, like I said, I don't know that I think we should be in the market for it, but I think that there's value. And I think there's, real reasons behind why he's doing what he's doing. I don't disrespect that at all.
The only reason that I don't think it would be a bad thing to add him to this defense. I think it would be honestly a huge upgrade, obviously because of his talent level. Yeah. I'm just really intrigued by Brandon Smith,
right?
And I want to see. I think if we were after Patriots week, then I'd probably be like, yeah, let's do it. If we've already kind of seen sort of what Brandon Smith can be, but it's kind of a wait and see approach for me because it's just something about Brandon Smith. Like some guys are just better pros than they are college players. And I wonder with him, like, was it him just schematically being out of place? Because, a lot of his, the reason he dropped so far was because of, his ball skills, they would say, different kind of things on his scouting report or whatever. But, he could transition to be his athletic ability is off the charts. And so I would just like to see what he could do before I would just bring in a proven guy like this. Not to say that that's not a good thing, because we've seen proven guys be added to a defense when we had momentum, like a Jared Allen, that definitely put us over the top, for that season. But I would kind of like to see what Brandon Smith looks like in that role first.
Right. If you can get the somebody on a much cheaper contract to be there, for you and prove that, then I think there's way more value in that, in my opinion. Than anything else. Yeah, I'm right there with you on that.
Well, 2 things I want to add to what John was saying. I've people that have been listening to me for a while when I evaluate college players, I cannot stand the coaching staff at Penn State. Dude, I feel like they have had so many talented players that they just never get the best out of. Like, I mean, being real, no one expected Micah Parsons to be the kind of player that he was. Everyone thought that he was going to be a good inside linebacker, but if you watch his film, he missed a lot of gap assignments. There was a lot of refinement that he needed to do to play Mike's linebacker full time. Well, the Cowboys didn't use him that way. So I agree with you, John, when you say that Brandon Smith is the type of player who has the potential to be a much better professional football player than he was a collegiate football player. However, it gets back to Matt Rhule, like not being inventive enough to like play them in the right position. I don't think he has any intention of playing Brandon Smith at the max linebacker position. I would like him to. I would like that big, fast, physical guy at the max linebacker position. I don't know if that's what they're gonna.
But is that really his choice? Like, if he comes out, like let's just say he has a phenomenal game against the Commanders. You know, he's all over the field, tackling machine. Do you think that's his choice, or is it Phil Snow's? Because I would say it's more of a Phil Snow decision.
That's a good question.
It probably
because
is.
we can't say that about Brandon Smith. Like, at some point, we have to acknowledge certain things. We have to acknowledge that Jeremy Chin was just a phenomenal pick, and they've played him in as good a position as they possibly can.
Right.
We have to acknowledge that he put Hassan Reddick in a place to be able to get paid a bigger contract than what he got here. You know, so there's got to be some wins in there somewhere, and it's possible that this guy comes out in preseason and just, you know, like I said, wows everybody, or he could fall flat on his face and need more time to develop.
Yeah, I would love to have Roquan Smith. I think he's more of a scalpel than a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by that is I want him shooting gaps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want him run blocking too much because remember, this Roquan Smith is not a very big guy.
No.
And I think that might be why John kind of juxtaposed him with Brandon Smith. Brandon's 6'4", 250. Like that guy can do just about everything you want him to. Whereas if you put a guard on Roquan, that's not a favorable matchup for Roquan.
You know what's crazy, Cody, about Brandon Smith is that if you go look at his measurables and his athletic ability, his size, he's only 20 pounds heavier, but he has almost identical combine numbers as Cam Chancellor.
Yeah. And like 20 pounds heavier, like 2 inches taller.
Mm-hmm.
The dude's a madman. Like, so much athletic potential. He was a 5-star recruit before he committed to Penn State, and he kind of fell relative to his potential. So, a ton of potential there, and you know you're hoping that you can see the best out of him. It's the same thing with YGM. They have so much talent, but we just need to put them in the best position to be able to go and pin their ears back. And John, you talked about that, putting them more at that wide 9 position, like a real 4-3 defensive end. I think that helps Brian Burns and your Gross.
But see, the way that this team is built, Cody, that's not going to happen. You're going to see more of that 3-3, a lot more of that 3-3-5, especially when this offense is scoring. They're going to put 5 DBs all over the field and cloud like crazy because they're going to force you to throw the ball. And so in a base 4-3, then like I said, you would see guys like Derek Brown that would have more success in your Gross models because they're getting consistent reps. It's like just building. But when you're going from a 4-3 to 4-2, what is it, 4-2-5 or whatever, to 3-3-5 or whatever, like it's just hard for those guys to build that consistency when they're coming on and off the field, being rotated from one place to another. But it works. It does work. When you force teams to throw the ball, it works. And we saw that early in the New Orleans game.
And I'll be damned if we don't have the squad to get some picks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't recall a time that I've ever been this excited about the talent that the Panthers have in their defensive backfield, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I can literally name our entire defensive backfield. Jeremy Chin, Xavier Woods, CJ Henderson, JC Horn, Dante Jackson. Like, bro, we have to have one of the dude, speed-wise, we have to have one of the fastest backfields in the NFL.
Yeah,
easy.
Like, we have to.
I agree.
And that's what I'm saying, man. So, like, when you go look back, this is why I sometimes, like, look, sometimes it takes people time to put the right pieces in place. Sometimes people have to fall on their face with their mistakes, eat it, and move forward. But if we had a healthy Cam Newton when they hired Matt Rhule, I don't think that we look at Matt Rhule the same. I really don't, because
I think you're right. Yeah.
We've had so many different games where it's been so close, and he's made some bonehead decisions, no doubt. But like, man, I bring this up all the time. Zach Taylor went from 2-14 to the Super Bowl in 2 years. Why? Because of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, right?
Yeah.
To win 5 games in this division, is it horrible? Absolutely. But in this league, you do not win if you don't have a quarterback. You don't. I don't care who you are. You can be the best coach out. Look, you don't win if you don't have a quarterback. And I think that steadying this offense is really going to give Matt a chance to show who he could potentially be as a coach, which, look, as a Carolina Panther fan, I hope he's great. Honestly, I do. I hope he's great because it's good for us. I don't want to see Matt Rhule and this thing blow up because you're talking about locker rooms getting disintegrated and players not liking each other, some players wanting to leave and stuff like that. I just don't want to see that happen. So I want to see this guy be successful.
Yeah. Go ahead, Greg. I know you wanted to get something in.
No, he pretty much just said what I wanted to say. I mean, I'm not a Matt Rhule fan, but I'll get behind the guy if he can give me something to cheer for and give me a reason to think this team's going to win. I'm down for anybody who can help us win. But y'all know I've been kind of against Matt Rhule since day one. I don't want to say I never really gave him a chance, but I did give him a chance. Every year when the year started, I've been optimistic and I've been hopeful. I even said last year after we were 3-0, I stand behind Sam. Like I said that on the podcast. I'll admit to it. I don't like being lied to. I don't like being blatantly lied to, even if Matt Rhule and I have no relationship together. I don't like being lied to. So I'm not stupid. Be honest with me. Anybody who's going to follow what you say is smart enough to realize whether you're telling a lie or not. The average fan is not going to listen to a Matt Rhule press conference. The only people who listen to that is fans who are deep fans like us who know you're bullshitting, or coaching staff. So don't bullshit me, man. That's my thing with Matt Rhule. But if he's successful, I'm all for it. I want him to be that's great because his success means my success. I'm a Panthers fan and I want us to be successful, but I just don't believe he's got it in him.
And Greg, I will give you your credit, brother, because you were on the scent of Matt Rhule publicly before anyone I know. I remember after his first press conference, you're like, yo, this dude does a lot of coach speak, bro. And you said that you were on it. 100%. I give you your credit. Again, you're right, man. None of us are pulling for Matt Rhule to fail, but we're allowed to criticize the plethora of different mistakes that this man has made and continues to make. And we're going to continue to do that. We're not going to be, we're not going to sugarcoat anything here at the C3 Panthers podcast.
Yeah, nor should you. I completely agree.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Because as fans, man, at the end of the day, we're only beholden to greatness. I mean, and if they're not putting out a great product, then yeah, you have to be critical, and things have to change.
This is the other problem with a fan like me. I've witnessed every bit of greatness and failure the Panthers have had since day one. Not a lot of fans can say that about their team. And I know Panthers fans can, Jaguars fans can, I get it. But I'm one of those few who can say from day one, I've watched every single game. Yep. I've been there from the beginning. And not a lot of people say that. So I've seen the times when the Carolina Panthers are up and man, we are about it and we're ready to go. And I've seen the Jimmy Clausen days. So I've been through it all, man. So it's hard to fool somebody like me because I've seen this movie before. Let's see what the ending is, Yeah.
Yeah. And Panther Blue, he's in our chat a lot. He gets on us for criticizing Matt Rhule. And good. Look, it's good that Matt Rhule has some defenders.
Right.
He definitely needs someone to be on his side. But yeah, man, we're going to continue to be honest. And when he deserves praise, let me tell you, we're not going to withhold it from him. We want to see growth. We want to see continued evolution. Let's continue on with these.
Shout out to Panther Blue said one more thing real quick. He said, and we're not even talking about what's coming with Amari Barno and Kalen Barnes. I think Amari Barno has Max Crosby kind of potential. Okay. I think that kid is going to be. He might be ridiculous, bro.
I'm down. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Real quick before we move to the next one, real real quick,
Yeah,
if you
go
don't
ahead,
mind.
go ahead.
Guys, we are 90 subs away from hitting 4K. That's been our goal, is 4K
Yes.
before the start of the season. If you
Tell
guys are
them.
new to the channel, do me a favor, hit that sub button. And if you are already subbed and you feel like, hey, listen, what we're doing, what the content we're putting out is worthy of a share, share it with other people that you find that are Panthers fans or Browns fans or whatever it may be. And even if it's just as the year comes along, I think it's always good to have an idea of what your opponent is thinking, right? And so if as week 1 comes, Browns fan, come check out the podcast Tuesday, share it with anybody that's a Browns fan. Same thing with week 2, week 3, those opponents, just share it with anybody and then say, listen, this is a podcast about the Panthers. They're going to be talking about your squad. They're going to be talking about the Panthers. They give you a good insight about what to expect on Sunday. So if you guys don't mind, do us a favor, try to help us get to that 4K. And, we're going to try to propel this thing forward, man. We've got a renewed energy, a focus on this channel. We want to build this thing out and actually make it the premier destination for Panthers news and opinions, as the intro might allude.
That's
Hey,
right,
Cody.
man. Yeah,
Cody,
go ahead.
Jay Issue said Matt Rhule got a cousin on every Panther fans podcast.
Hey, I don't doubt that, man. I don't doubt that. Look, the people in the organization, they definitely know what we say and do.
Right.
Like,
yes.
we're almost at 4 hours, and we still have 230 people chilling with us right now. So it's like they know that people are listening to us.
Mm-hmm.
And man, we're only able to do this with you guys, man, supporting the channel. Hit that like and hit that subscribe. And our first game is September 11th, right? That's the first game. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers before the first game of the season. Man, you can help us out. That'll help this channel grow to the very next level.
Cody, here's the crazy thing, man. When you talked about the number of people that are still watching, not for nothing, man, PNP and what's my man, Aaron Duncan, showed us at training camp that not only do you guys watch, but even the players like DJ Moore recognized those guys when they were at training camp.
Right.
So they watch.
100%.
Well, and the thing is the reality is our fans and the fans of a lot of these podcasts, they are the most dedicated fans. They're the most vocal fans. They're the fans buying the merchandise. They're the fans watching the games. They're the fans going to the games. They're the fans constantly engaging with the Panthers stuff online, right? So the idea of, and I've been saying it for a while, the Panthers are missing the buck on embracing this fan-created content. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to find it, eventually see that there's value in it, because all of these legends in our chat right now, every single one of them are the ones that you, like the Panthers, they realize they're the diehard fans, right? The people here are the people that matter to the Panthers nation. And I'm not saying people that are new here don't matter. I'm just saying the people that are spending 3 hours with us to just literally hear 4 random fans talking about the Carolina Panthers, those are the real people in this community. And so I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. It's something that, we couldn't ask for a better community, and it's been growing and growing, and you guys constantly come back. I just can't even begin to fathom the how loyal you guys are to this channel. Like it's mind-boggling, and we just can't express that appreciation more.
Especially now that we found out our boy Muscles Marinara has a kick-ass sub shop.
Hell yeah,
Spartanburg, bro.
Right.
Next year we all need to make the trek down to Spartanburg, do a C3 meetup, and see how many people recognize our faces. Man.
Hey man, I'm gonna hit them up on Grubhub probably tomorrow. The next time I go live, I'm gonna record, the taste test and all that kind of stuff. I ain't gonna give him no bad look or nothing like that. But if it's bomb, bro, I'm sending as much business your way as I can.
There you go.
And the last thing I'll say, I think one of the reasons why you don't see the Panthers reaching out to fan-made podcasts like C3, like PNP or Pat Coltrane, is that we're honest, man. Like, one of the reasons why y'all come to us is because we're going to tell you our honest opinion of what's happening on the field. And we're going to listen to G Baby's cat calls in a little bit, and he's going to go off. And we're not going to censor him either, man. Like, this is a place for Panther fans to come and be emotional. Whatever your emotion is, are you happy about what happened? Come do it here at the C3 Panthers podcast. Are you pissed off about what happened? Come do it here at the C3 Panthers podcast, man. And I think that kind of scares the powers at B to kind of uplift a platform like ours that is being brutally honest. Because that's why our viewers are choosing us over these kind of milquetoast, one after the other kind of podcasts that the teams are actually putting out.
Leading in fear is not the way to be successful, right? And so the reality is the emotion we're showing on this on these podcasts are the emotions all the Panthers fans are feeling, right? If we're elated, you're going to see that on this podcast. If as a fan base we are not happy, you're going to this is the best place as to be able to watch us, PNP, all of these guys. I mean, I'm not going to shit on any of the content creators. We're all in this together, right? No. This is the best place the Panthers can look to find out what they need to focus on to make their organization better and to cater to their customer, which is us, the fans. Yeah. Right. Well, and so that's why I think that that's a missed opportunity that they're eventually going to have to look into. I'm not sitting here saying they need to pay us, $40,000 an episode or anything crazy like that. But I'm saying, listen, they have a store, right? Wouldn't it make sense for us to plug their team store in our stuff? Let's be real about it. This is the people that you are supposed to be advertising to. All right.
But you know what though, Cody? Even if they don't acknowledge, man, I would much rather have influence over power.
Agreed.
That's right. That's my point, man. Look at what look at what we're doing now. Look at what all these other podcasts are doing. Like, people come to us for a reason. You're getting something here that you're not getting from all these other official podcasts and clubs. It's going to take the NFL and all these other football teams a while to, I think, really kind of embrace what we're doing. But hey, if you're a fan of this podcast, you get to say that you were a fan of us when when we were just out here grinding, out here doing our own thing. But look, let's get some more of these cat calls in there.
Sure.
We still got a good little list. Let's burn through
them. Yeah, let's try to get a few.
Yo, what is up, C3? It's your boy Anthony calling in. Not much to talk about. I mean, kind of already knew Baker was going to be the guy when we were getting here, but I do want to talk about this offensive line because Matt Rhule just looks like such a hypocrite, saying that now because the NFL coaches probably told him that Brady Christensen is a left tackle, he looks like a complete doofus, drafting another left tackle at 6. Which, from all the fans can see, it's pretty logical that all you have to do is give Ike Ekwonu a chance to show you what he can do at left guard, because I'm willing to bet my chips on rookie Ike Ekwonu instead of Michael Jordan, who gets all this unpraised hype saying he had like a 5-game stretch of he still lost all those games. He didn't make an impact enough to the point where you say, yeah, he needs to be our starting left guard.
Thank you.
That's my point with this, is that so Matt Rhule thought Brady Christensen was a guard last year, and then now all of a sudden he's a tackle. Well, I mean, I'll be damned if I don't see Ike Ekwonu starting somewhere on the O-line, because, I mean, man, we can't just have these draft picks turn into backups. Like, it only feels this way for being a Panthers fan. Like, all these other draft picks you see immediately start, immediately make impacts on their teams, especially on offense. But for some reason, and especially the last couple of years, the Panthers just haven't been able to do that.
Right.
There's a guy like Terrence Marshall that needs to break out this season. So you get my point with these offensive draft picks. But yeah, man, that's my opinion on the offensive line. Hopefully Rhule will start looking at Twitter and realizing that what mistake he's making is really detrimental to the team. I just want to see the best players play. Appreciate all the work y'all do. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Yo,
Yeah, I
what
think,
is
nobody's
up,
going to disagree.
C3? Yo, what is up,
Let's keep
C3?
going.
It's your boy Anthony calling in. Not
He
much
called
to
like
talk
3
about.
times.
I mean,
This is the same one.
kind of already knew.
Oh, is it the same one?
Yo, what's up, C3? Quick part 2 to my call for Anthony. Just wanted to point this out here too. Adding on to what I said about the draft and, how Brady Christensen didn't play last year and then now he's used as considered one of the best players on our team. It really scares me because if he's just now getting a shot to show that he's better than all these bums that we put on the O-line last year, then I'm certainly convinced that 3rd round, 4th round players like Matt Rhule, Brandon Smith are not going to see the field this year just because Matt Rhule just doesn't want to play rookies. Even if they're a 1st round caliber player. It's very confusing. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But, we're just going to have to roll with it. Whatever the O-line is, we're going to have to hope that Baker can do something behind it. I just really don't see them going, Michael Jordan is our guy. And it's very frustrating, to even talk about this subject because we've been inept at left tackle for so long that now it's like they won't even think about putting Ikem Ekwonu at guard, even though, and shout out to John and Cody for this one, because these boys have been talking about this for a while. Ikem Ekwonu should be taking snaps at guard, because if he turned out to be a Hall of Fame guard, that was an amazing pick. But yeah, keep pounding.
Facts.
Yo, what's up, C3? Quick part 2 to my call.
Let me pause the call. We've kind of said this a lot. I think it echoes a lot of our sentiments. Matt Rhule has a problem with playing rookie offensive players. I want to keep going with the cat calls, but I never want to miss a good opportunity. We got a donation from Rook yet again with a $5 love bomb. His 3rd donation of the night. Definitely appreciate you, sir. He says, "What's the origin of keep pounding?" Well, you know what? I'm so glad you asked, because that brings us to what was the final topic on my slideshow. And it's that man right there. Sam Mills is officially a Hall of Famer. So, by the way, Rook, if you don't know, Sam Mills was brought over to the Carolina Panthers. He used to play for the New Orleans Saints previously. He came over. He was a fantastic player for the Carolina Panthers. And then later, he was a great coach. And at a certain point in time, and boys, you might have to help me out here with what cancer Steve Mills Sam
intestinal, I think.
Yeah, he contracted intestinal cancer, and this man would still show up to work. He would still be the type of coach that players wanted to play for, and he had a motto. That motto was keep pounding. Mm-hmm. That no matter what's happening to you, no matter how bad you might feel, no matter how bad things might look, you never give up and you keep pounding. Yep. And these words, this is our mantra, man. This means everything to us. For a lot of people, this is more than just football. This is for life. Whenever life gets you down, whenever you're going through hard times, you have to keep pounding, man. Literally, even if you're going through something as terrible as a bout of cancer, like Steve Mills went through himself, it's that never-ending fight that keep pounding. That's why we made such a big deal last year, when it kind of felt like David Tepper, like Tyler Jones said, it kind of felt like David Tepper was trying to
remove it.
Yeah, get rid of the motto and not have it be broadcast in the stadium for our fans to start chanting. Mm-hmm. This was a big no-no for us, man. These words are sacred to us. They mean a lot to us, the Sam Mills family. And yeah, the fact that we get to call this man a Hall of Famer, man, that's big time. I
You
love
know
that.
what?
That's great.
Cody, I just thought about something because I had never seen this happen before. You remember how Russell Wilson, like after every single press conference, would say "Go Hawks," right?
Yeah.
I remember, to speak to your point about what David Tepper was attempting to do. And if you remember the kind of, I guess, there was the press conference during TD and Greg Olson's retirement where David Tepper mentioned about bringing that other guy home or whatever when he was talking about Cam Newton or whatever. And then they re-signed Cam last year. Do you remember after that win, Cam said, "There's one thing that I've been wanting to say for a long time." After the press conference, he said, "Keep pounding," and he walked off.
Yes.
To me, you know what? That was so much LeBron versus Dan Gilbert. It was ridiculous to me.
Great comparison.
I
Great
feel like
comparison.
that was Cam Newton saying, "Keep dang pounding,"
Yes.
because you
Great
are not
comparison.
taking that away from this team. Period.
John, salute. That was
Yes, I love that. Great
fire,
comparison.
man. And
Mhm.
it did feel like that. And by the way, Cam Newton has been like one of the biggest pillars of all of our traditions, man. The Sunday giveaway was Cam Newton. Cam Newton understood keep pounding. And when he did say that at that podium, it felt powerful. It felt like a statement. It felt like, these are our words. And it doesn't matter how much you bought the Panthers for. You're not taking our words away from us.
Yeah.
Steve Mills gave us this. This is going to be ours forever, man. So, man, shout out Cam Newton, Ace Boogie. That's my dude, man.
There is only one other statement other than keep pounding in my life that motivates me as much as keep pounding, and it's already taken by somebody, and that's whatever it takes. You know, Marvel took that one. But, I mean, like, what else would you say, like, to try to motivate your team that is so deep other than keep pounding? Like, I just don't get why anybody would want to change that. And I think that's my biggest problem with David Tepper is, like, I get wanting to change some of the culture, like evolve into something new.
Yeah.
But you have a history, man. Like, this team's here for a reason. It's been here for this long. And there are fans like me and thousands other, I'm sure, that have been there from the beginning. Like, I was there when Kerry Collins broke his jaw. Like, I've seen all this stuff, man. Like, I'm not giving up keep pounding because you don't want it to be that way. I will forever say keep pounding for the Carolina Panthers. Period.
Dude, I'll say this and then we'll move on. David Tepper scares me, man. And I bring this up a lot because I remember this. There were under the surface rumors that David Tepper even wanted to change the colors of the Carolina Panthers early on. And it's like, dude, what are you even
best colors in the
talking
NFL?
about?
Not only
That's
best colors
insane.
in the NFL, man, but this is one thing I did like about Richardson. I like tradition. I don't know why. I just really love tradition. Like, I know a lot of people are screaming for us to have a uniform change. I don't want it, man. I love the traditional varsity block numbers. Like, I like it with Green Bay. I like it with Kansas City. I like for us to be one of those teams that keep our jerseys the same way that they are because it builds that tradition. I don't know why. I just love that. Like, I hope they don't make any changes. And look, I know a lot of people want uniform changes, but I don't think that our colors are so bland or ugly like Seattle or, you know, nothing like Tampa. Well, look, Tampa went back to theirs. They went back to the block varsity numbers because they tried to go to that alarm clock mess that looked like trash, and people wanted the old jerseys back. And so I like where we're at with our uniforms.
That's funny that you say that because in my opinion, besides, I think Carolina has the best uniforms in the entire NFL.
100%.
But beyond that, I think that Green Bay, Seattle, and Tampa Bay are the next three in line. I think those three uniforms are fire. Like, the Chargers, I love their uniforms too. Like, but all those uniforms are just amazing. They stand out. You can look at them and immediately know exactly what team you're pulling for with those colors. I love it. You know.
Yeah, shout out to C-Dog. You're right. Jerry Richardson was the man. I like Richardson. I hope don't stab me for saying that. But
No, you're cool. All right, let's continue with this cat.
What's up, C3? It's Nostalgiaholic coming in from the high country. Just wanted to say thanks, as always, for putting on a great pod. but a lot of chatter about, media or lack of media at training camp down in Spartanburg, but that kind of seems to be a little ubiquitous amongst, many organizations and many training camps where they've really pulled the press back into, to the limited, amount that the teams want to put out, which is crazy. So fucking hype to have just like Twitter blowing up, and it's been a big bummer, but it is what it is. So far it seems like it's been a positive training camp. I do think there's a lot of people who are kind of bummed at some of the ways that the lines have been managed. Not just the offensive line, but really like starters, second string. It feels for some like these positional battles. Case in point, like Sam Darnold. Why even host a competition when there's clearly someone better? But I think when it gets a little bit more serious is on the offensive line with Ikem Ekwonu. Like, all reports are that he's a fucking badass. So I think a lot of people want to see him, only running with ones, or, they can't stand the thought of Pat being listed as the starting center. I've heard some takes of saying that they wanted to make sure that Bozeman was getting, reps with Baker, and that's why he was listed at 2. I don't know. It's training camp. I think some of it's kind of dumb, and I have faith that come the start of the year, we're going to see a legit offensive line, and those jokers are going to be out of here. But love to hear what everybody else has to say. Keep pounding. Let's fucking go. What's up, C3? It's Nostalgiaholic coming in from the high country.
Let's go. Nice, man. Yeah. I mean, again, I think we've kind of touched on all of it. We all want Icky to start and to play. Whether that happens, we'll see.
What's up, C3? It's So here calling in from Raleigh. I don't hear too many ladies calling in, so I knew I had to come say what's up, drop some thoughts in. I feel like Baker has really brought an intensity to the team and an edge that we haven't seen in a while, probably since Prime Cam. With the little amount of coverage and highlights we've got from the media team this year, I still notice most Baker's demeanor and energy that he uniquely brings to the players around him by being vocal and forward. I guess my question is, who do we ultimately keep going forward, Sam or PJ? I say we cut our losses with Sam and eat the money and have PJ as a third and Matt Corral as clear number 2. Could we see that happen? Love tuning in and listening to you guys every Tuesday night. Let me get y'all's thoughts on that. Peace.
That's
can I
right
first
there.
and foremost tell you
marriage material right there?
Yeah, like listen, here's the thing. She clearly had written down everything so that she could make sure she got the points across that she wanted to get. I am
cat call.
Incredibly impressed with that.
Everyone should strive to be like her. What was her name again?
P3, it's So here calling in from Raleigh.
Did you say Steph?
I think she said down here calling in from Raleigh. I don't know if she said her.
I thought she said her name was Steph. But listen, I didn't catch her name. Fantastic cat call.
Yes.
And yeah, I think we all agree with you, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, CK talked about this earlier. I feel like we're just kicking the tires here.
Yeah.
On
where I stand with it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all ready to move on from Sam, and Sam's probably going to be ready to move on from us fairly soon too. I would imagine. Especially when you're walking out to training camp and all the fans are cheering for Baker Mayfield and Matt Corral. Like I'm sure it doesn't feel good. Like we're not heartless. Nobody's wishing ill will against the guy, but
And I do want to put out there too that I say marriage material because I am applauding how great her call was, not saying she is only worth marrying because of something like that, because I know how people are this day and age. So there you go.
Hey, people translate that too.
Exactly.
It's funny to hear a female talking about routes.
Oh, shit. Cancel him.
And you know what's funniest about that comment? I don't think I've ever seen a female run a route. Just saying.
Oh, yeah, you have.
Yeah,
Oh,
Juicy
no,
Andrew.
you know what? I saw
Just
one
saying.
the other day. There was a chick in a bikini, man. She was all hanging out, and she dusted this dude. He was in coverage.
Oh.
And, man, let me tell you, she dusted.
I'm sure there's plenty out there that could smoke me, like in coverage and in just beating me in routes. I'm not saying that by any means. I'm just saying, to your point, I've never seen a female run a route in the NFL.
All right, so tell me.
Come in, so I knew I had to come say.
Yeah, that was the last one. All right, moving on.
Hey guys, it's the growl that makes them howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther. Now, I got a question for you guys. I was thinking about this today. What's better, preseason at the stadium or preseason when you're watching it on TV or listening to it on the radio? Because I was thinking that on the one hand, for me, I love going to the stadium. I mean, I just love it in preseason. You know, holy shit, the Panthers are playing at the stadium. You know, the gates are open. I want to go. So I ended up going. But then again, I'm like, there's so much happening in preseason in terms of changes, in terms of people that are on the bubble and all that other stuff, and you know, not that everyone cares, like my brother doesn't. My brother basically called me an addict because I care about preseason football, because it is important to see who's going to make the team, who sucks, you know, that kind of stuff. But that's my question to you guys. I gave you all my thoughts, and I won't leave you waiting any longer.
Wow, he's making us wait. He said, I won't make you wait any longer, and made that thing go out for about 30 seconds there.
Joey.
Yeah, Joey. Your brother's not calling you an addict because of the Carolina Panthers. He's calling you an addict because you just practice that growl all day and all night.
Yeah. And, look, I'll say this when it comes to like preseason. Like preseason, I'd rather be at the stadium, you know, obviously because it's just fun. Right. It's like, it's kind of a throwaway game anyway. But I think we can all agree that there are times during the season it's better to be at home, man. Snuggled up behind the TV on the sofa. You got your beer, you got your chicken wings, man. You're just chilling. Like, it's not, freezing in your house.
Man, listen, as a person, so when the games are so much different when you're watching, like, even like big time college football, right? Like, my brother played ball for Troy. And I remember them playing Florida, and like you see the games on TV, and it's like, to me, I like it better on TV because there's no commentary when you're in the stadium. It's loud and it's like really crazy, right? But then in between plays, it's like really quiet, and then you hear the announcer, no different in high school, over the over the PA saying like, this play by this player or whatever like that. But you don't get the same kind of like. You get spoiled with getting the commentary, of the guys on TV. And like, I just think it's a much better. That's why it's the number one, television show on so many different networks, is because the commentary is what makes it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, and they got Steve Smith on the broadcast now. They're trying to do some stuff. But let's move on. 252-228-1598.
There's no again here. And I gotta say one thing with Ike Ekwonu. Like, let's really be real about it. Ike Ekwonu, he's probably one of the most better left tackles we really have on the board. And Brady Christensen, if you saw what Brian Burns was doing to Brady Christensen, how is he gonna survive against a guy who's much stronger than him? Wade wanted him. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? And I think that they should give, Iquem Aquanu, some type of reps, something. But, keep Thomas out. Peace. There's no again here.
Keep pounding. Yeah, let's move on with the call here. We've talked a lot about O-line. Appreciate you, Noah. Yeah, okay, here it is. You already know G-Baby.
Hey. You know who the fuck it is. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka! Let's talk about this motherfucking depth chart, man. And I'm over here listening to the panel, man. I'm sick of you whoever shits on Dante Jackson, go suck a dick, bruh. Because he's the only motherfucking quarter we've had since James Bradbury. And if anything, all y'all need to be licking his fucking nuts, man. Because if it wasn't for Dante, we wouldn't have fucking shit. So let's put some fucking respect on Dante fucking Jackson, CK. Let's give him the benefit of the fucking doubt. Hey, Panther Nation, I'm gonna let you know CK's been fucking Dante Jackson's #1 hater, bro. So I don't want to hear let's give him the benefit of the doubt since it's his first years in the league. CK, come on, bro. You better than that. Come on, dude. Come on, dog. But what did I tell you motherfuckers about Michael Johnson playing left guard? I told you guys. I told you that's the best left guard we got. The best left guard we got. We should have never drafted Icky. We got fucking Brady Christensen playing left tackle. I don't know why Icky isn't playing left tackle, but it is what it is. Bozeman is not even starting at center. We still got Pat Efron's bitch ass. So I don't know what that's about. Bro, why the fuck is Corey Littleton not starting? Can someone please tell me why he's not starting at middle linebacker? That doesn't make no sense to me. And if it was up to me, I'm sorry, man. Jeremy Chinn's an all-pro fucking safety, but he's a Hall of Fame linebacker. If it was up to me, I'd have Shaq on the outside, Corey Littleton in the inside, and then you got Jeremy Chinn on the outside, you got JC, you got Dante, you got fucking CJ Henderson, you got Keith Taylor. Move one of them to fucking free safety. You got Xavier Woods, and Xavier Woods can't play free safety like that. He don't have the speed. That's why they moved him to strong safety. He's a hard-hitting safety that can tackle. But we don't have the defense to play the 4-3. The lack of pass rushers just scares the fuck out of me too. But I'm gonna call in, boys. Cody, you know what it is. Hey.
So here's what I'm gonna do. Instead of getting like these incremental doses of G-Baby, I'm gonna play all of G-Baby's calls right now and get them out the way, and then we can respond. I'll let CK respond and defend himself. Let's just get, G comes with the energy all the time. So we're gonna let G.
CK, you make me fucking sick. I love Dante's accent now. Come on, bro. Now he's got the mentality. Come on, bro. He's had the mentality since fucking rookie year, dog. And you shit on this motherfucker his entire career with the fucking Panthers, dog. No, I'm calling you out, bro, because that's bullshit, bro. You're Dante Jackson's #1 hater, and now you fucking love him. Sounding like another Matt Rhule we got, boys. Come on, CK. You better than that, partner. CK, you make me fucking sick. I love Dante.
All right. I gotta let CK defend himself.
Yeah. Oh no, there's no defense on my part. I literally said I have been one of his biggest critics. This year and last year has been the first time that I felt positive about Deshaun Jackson or Dante Jackson. Now, here's the thing you got to keep in mind if you're just joining the Panthers as fandom. Dante Jackson was he had a pretty decent rookie year. Every year he has been injured because of a damn fucking toe or something like that, right? So Dante Jackson, his greatest ability has not been his availability, unfortunately. So I've had some issues with that. He also had issues from at least the way that All or Nothing portrayed it, of having maturity issues, of being able to actually sit down. Like basically you had to have a sit down with all the leaders of that defense telling him like, we need you to be more mature or whatever it was. I can't even remember the exact words. right? I had legitimate reasons to not feel like Dante Jackson was an elite caliber, cornerback. I never once said he was garbage. I never once said he was a piece of shit. Right, G-Baby is just getting in his emotions a little bit because he's been wrong on a couple of players himself, and he just refuses to admit that. And so at this point in time, I'm on G-Baby's side with Dante Jackson, and I think I think G-Baby would agree that I agree with him on a lot of different fronts. We even talked about, like, literally, I was the first one to talk about Corey Littleton, so I'll be right there, on his side with his frustration with Corey Littleton being back up to Shaq on the left there. But G-Baby, absolutely. You are heavily mistaken about how negative I was towards Dante Jackson. I was negative, but it wasn't Dante Jackson's garbage. So go ahead and show me the clips.
So sometimes you just gotta let G be G. Dude, on the Friday free for all, he was already trying to tell us, oh, JC Horn, bro, he's injury prone. We gotta trade his ass.
Right. Blow on Dante Jackson. Bro. He's gone for the rest of the year, bro.
And he's not a believer in Matt Corral either. And gee, you and I are night and day different.
You lost Cody on that one. Yeah.
You're gonna regret that one, bro.
I will say in defense of G-Baby right here, because I've been saying this for years. I've been a Dante Jackson fan since day one. He bought a car for his mom with his first paycheck, which I love and respect. That's awesome. I love that mindset. I think he's been a very good player. I can't stand people who talk about how great Josh Norman was and don't think Dante Jackson is good. So let me go ahead and tell you, Dante Jackson, through his first 4 years in the NFL, is better than Josh Norman was.
Right.
Josh Norman had one good year in 2015, surrounded by a really good defense. Okay?
That's a good point.
Other than that, he's been a mid-level to maybe not even starting in some leagues cornerback for the rest of his career. The first 3 years in Carolina and every year after that in Washington. Josh Norman's been that. Dante Jackson has been a consistent when he's played the entire time he's been an NFL player. Josh Norman didn't do that. So I can't stand here and people talk about Josh Norman when he had one good year out of 10, and Dante Jackson has had 4 decent years of the time he's played.
And what I can't stand is how, like, oftentimes we just don't give – it's like we tie – and I'm just as guilty as anybody else, but we tie so much of our emotion and esteem to the wins and not the process.
You're right.
Like Josh Norman was an accumulation of time. Like, not every guy's going to come out and hit immediately. Jordan Gross was an accumulation of time. Cam Newton was an accumulation of time. My goodness, there were people. I saw somebody in the chat say this earlier, that they saw people calling for Rivera's head after year 2.
Yep.
Well, if you do that, 2015 never happens, and we set the league on fire.
Right.
One of the reasons that we might not be a huge media market team, but one of the reasons that we're the most one of the most followed teams. I think we have the most followers on Twitter at 3 million. And I think they got over 100,000 now on the YouTube page, which is pretty good considering, teams that are more storied than us have less than us. Right. But one of the reasons is because of that 15 season. That doesn't happen if you fire guys too early. That doesn't happen if you send Cam packing. We gave more grace to Cam than even, Chicago gave the Mitch Trubisky, and he went to a playoff game much earlier in his career.
Yeah.
So,
well, Dante Jackson is the benefit to Dante Jackson is he had, from a statistical standpoint, he had a much better first 3 years of his career than Josh Norman. Right. Dante Jackson, I think, had probably a higher expectation of success because he was drafted higher than Josh Norman as well. A lot of my criticism early on was yes, his availability was a question mark because it felt like there were a couple of times when he got beat. Every time it felt like he was just injured after he got beat on a route or something like that. That always seemed odd to me. And then a lot of times there was a lot of praise on his rookie year of the amount of interceptions he had. And I remember going back and those, most of those interceptions, I was just saying, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not shitting on him and saying he's a bad cornerback for this, but the praise was just unwarranted because it was just he was uncontested balls, meaning it was underthrown or just thrown in the middle of the field. And Dante Jackson just was literally standing there waiting for it for about 3 seconds to get to his chest. Right?
So
It wasn't. That's where my
Yeah,
criticism early on came from.
Yeah, I think two of those things can be true. I think not Dante, Josh probably was a system corner, but I'd be damned if he didn't provide us one of the most fun seasons we've ever had.
Yeah.
Dude, like,
You're right, yeah.
no one
He's part
can
of that.
deny
He's part of that.
that fight between him and Odell Beckham Jr. That's going to go down as one of the craziest, greatest Panther moments of all time, dude.
Agreed.
That's undisputed. But I'm also a big time fan of D Jackson. I don't think that he gets enough credit. All right, guys, we're in the home stretch, man.
Let's do it.
I don't know what the fuck this is. Baker this, Baker that. Baker. Well, Baker better fucking keep the same fucking energy week motherfucking one, man. Cause you Panther fans make me fucking sick. You Panther fans make me sick.
Oh. Is this a Cleveland fan? A scorned Cleveland fan?
That's a bunch of bitches.
Oh, I was about to say. I was like, what?
But keep that fucking same fucking energy, man. Cody Lax, handle him, man. I'm out.
All right. Can I let me at this because I'm the one with the Mayfield shirt on and all that. So I'll talk about this. Like, what energy exactly are we keeping here? Because here's what I would like to say in terms of the whole Matt Corral thing. Because I do believe in Matt Corral. I believe that Matt Corral is the future.
G-Baby doesn't
team.
even believe in him.
Well, that's his problem. But here's the point. The point is this: regardless to who it is that takes over at center, one of the reasons that I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm sure you do. Matt Rhule talked about first-round quarterbacks, and he talked about the hit rate on first-round quarterbacks not being that high. The context that was left out of that is important. It's the reason why the hit rate isn't that high, because most of these guys go to crap situations.
Right.
Go back and look at 4-time Super Bowl winning Terry Bradshaw, who took 4 years before he popped.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and look at Peyton Manning, who was 3-13 his first season, broke the rookie record for interceptions, who then turned around and struggled in year 4 after going to the playoffs. When you go to a bad team in a bad situation, it is far worse for guys than coming in. I mean, Cam Newton's another example. Cam Newton came into a 2-14 team, 6-10 year 1, 7-9 year 2. It took to year 3 to finally go 12-4 after starting 1-3. You know what I'm saying? Where the whole Riverboat name came from. Yeah. The point is this: when you build infrastructure, you get a Colin Kaepernick to take you to a Super Bowl. You get a Nick Foles that comes in as a backup and wins a Super Bowl. You get a Tom Brady that takes over for a Drew Bledsoe and wins a Super Bowl. It's because you have the infrastructure in place. So the reason I'm on Team Baker is not because I think Baker Mayfield is going to take this franchise to the next level. Could he? Yes, it can happen. Drew Brees didn't take San Diego to the Super Bowl, but he took New Orleans. Why? Because they went out and got guys like Darren Sharper, who had 7-some-odd interceptions that year, right? And they got a little luck from Brett Favre throwing the ill-advised pick at the end of the NFC Championship game. But the point is that you build the infrastructure so that whoever does take over at quarterback doesn't have to come and take over a mess situation. And it's more formidable for him to take over and an easier transition. I think Baker's a guy that has proven in this league that he can at least do that.
Yeah.
Better than a Sam Darnold.
I need to put that on recording. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was going to say the majority of these quarterbacks that get drafted, when they go to a good situation, they're successful. The ones that go to a bad situation, they aren't. And then they might not be good until they get to their next situation, right? We can talk about, Tannehill. We can talk about the fact that when Mahomes was drafted, he was drafted to a good team. The 49ers with Trey Lance. We'll see what happens there. He was drafted to a good team.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Aaron
exactly.
Rodgers. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, you have people, like, when you're drafted to a good team, you tend to have success early on. Like, it's just the reality of the league. You're not drafted, like, if you're drafted number 1 or number 2, such as Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence, you're not drafted to good teams. Like, let's be real about it.
And by the way, like, we also remember, and by the way, like, normally I'm not a proponent of this. Like, I agree with Warren and John right here, but I'm also I've been anti that on the show. I believe you need a dude at the quarterback position, but you're not wrong either. Like, we're not going to pretend like Case Keenum didn't quarterback the Minnesota Vikings. What? Didn't they go to the NFC Championship game?
Yeah.
That's the year when they embarrassed
Minnesota
the Saints.
Miracle.
Yeah.
Diggs, sideline, touchdown. Like that was the
remember that
same
moment,
year.
yeah.
Like, I mean, so you're not wrong in that. Part of the reason why I do think that the Panthers are going to be a better team, even though I'm not a big time Baker Mayfield believer, is because we do have the kind of team where we're not going to require Baker to be some kind of superhero. Like we're really going to run an offense that theoretically should be perfect for him. So I do agree with you on that. We got 4 more calls, man. Let's jump through these things.
It's me, C-Dog. I'm just calling in
C-Dog, what's up?
real quick to say a couple of things. Real quick, man, Brady Christensen is the best left tackle on our team. When we drafted Iki it's nothing wrong with having a Hall of Fame left guard. Then having a role,
that's right.
A big motherfucker. Man, basically, Iki got them gonna move motherfuckers for run blocking.
Absolutely.
But Brady Christensen is the most athletic offensive lineman we have on the team. Therefore, that's why he had such high score last season.
Wow.
But we got this dumbass coach in Matt Rhule who had him playing everything except his fucking position. But when he did play left tackle last year, he did remarkable, in the games that he had. It's a shame that he didn't get a whole 17 games under his belt at the left tackle position. But I'm fine with Iki being a Hall of Fame left guard. Now, let's talk about Dante Jackson real quick. Dante Jackson is a motherfucking nickel cornerback. He cannot guard Julio Jones, Mike Thomas, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams. You can't really beat up nobody who's bigger and stronger than him.
Hold on, he just named 3 elite wide receivers.
Overpaid him. He's overrated. He stays getting fucking burnt every fucking year. And even his rookie year, only reason he was doing good because James Bradbury was on the opposite side of him, locking down a number 1 fucking receiver. And he was on a fucking number 2 receiver. So I took that game he played against the goddamn Pittsburgh Steelers and goddamn Antonio Brown burnt his ass all goddamn game. But Dante Jackson, he's alright, but he's a nickelback. Now, Jeremy Chin is a motherfucking safety. So stop talking about putting Jeremy Chin at goddamn linebacker. The first year we played Jeremy Chin at linebacker, he had to get fucking knee surgery. He's not big enough to be a motherfucking linebacker. He was like goddamn safety.
Him and Fred Warner.
Talk about this Baker Mayfield bum ass. Like I said again, just let Matt Rhule be the fucking quarterback, man. See what we got. But we already know what we got in Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold in the same fucking draft class. 2 fucking bums. Yeah, fucking bums. Now with that being said, make sure you goddamn subscribe. Make sure you hit the motherfucking like button. They out here every Tuesday and every goddamn Friday. Right now, goddamn Tony on vacation. Goddamn Cody hold it down. A week ago, goddamn Cody missed goddamn Friday. Tony will hold it down. You always do a great job with a great show and everything. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Everybody have a great night. Great show again, as always, fellas.
Keep pounding.
It's me, C-Dog. I'm just calling in.
C-Dog goes from being one of the C-Dog goes from being like the troll of the community to being like one of the more valued members. Like I love his transition into being like one of the most loyal and consistent viewers of this show. I'm absolutely in all of that, man.
But C-Dog is like a super chill G baby. He's like a super chill, and like they're boys too. Like they but shout out C-Dog, man. Like, dude, C-Dog has been in our chat room forever. And I remember when people used to want me to ban him and like get him out. People thought that it was a troll. I'm like, no, he's a Panther fan, man. He's just speaking his opinion. Yeah. And that's what this podcast is about. So shout out C-Dog, man. We appreciate that love. And he's right, man. Whenever I'm not available for the free-for-all, Tony's been holding it down. Tony's not here tonight. Has to be a good husband or whatever. Who does that?
Right.
So, here I am. Holding it down. So that's what we do. And of course, I got my guys here, Greg, CK, special guest John joining us tonight, man. C3 is doing big things. By the way, CK brought this to my attention. We're 80 subscribers away from 4,000, man.
You guys have killed it tonight, guys. I appreciate that. Yeah,
man,
we've
you guys have been incredible tonight.
I think we've gone up 30 or 40 subs just in this evening, which is actually one of our better nights. So it's been an incredible night, guys. I appreciate all you guys for hitting that sub. But yeah, we're so close to that goal. We have a few preseason games to get there, but the sooner the better, because then we can start unleashing the next wave of goals on you guys. Because we're gonna explode this thing. We're hoping.
We're going to.
Can I real quick, before we go to the next call, just touch real quick on what was said on the last one? Because while I like the passion in the call, you literally just named Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, Mike Evans, and I think you said one other wide receiver. You literally just named 4 Hall of Fame wide receivers. Like, there's maybe 2 cornerbacks in the NFL that could hang with them. Like, I get it. Dante's not the best cornerback in the NFL.
Right.
But at the same time, you just named 4 Hall of Fame first ballot Hall of Fame wide receivers. Like, I mean, what cornerback can guard them all the time?
And Greg, to add on to what you're saying too, a lot of teams, they might not do it all the time, but they're moving their best receiver into the slot.
Yes.
So even if you feel Dante is best served at nickel, there is still going to be moments where he is going to have to go up against those dudes.
Yeah.
So, you have to be prepared. And I think that with all the talent that we've added, there is no reason, should he stay healthy, knock on wood, there is no reason why we should not see the very best Dante Jackson that we've ever seen, man. I'm really pumped for Dante. I think he's going to continue upon his breakout year last year and really do something special, man. We've only got 3 calls left, man. Only 3. Let's do it.
Hey. You know who this is. It's the phone that makes them moan. White chocolate espresso. I got a question. Ian Thomas went down today, got hurt. My question to y'all is, should we bring in another tight end in case this might be a serious injury? He might be out for some time. I'm hoping for Jared Cook. He played for South Carolina, so obviously I want him, but he's also a good receiving tight end. I think Baker would love him. Baker loves throwing to the tight end. I know we got Tommy Tremble, and we're hoping, but Tommy Tremble's a hope. Jared Cook has proven to be a reliable receiver. I think he had like over 600 yards last year, like 4 or 5 touchdowns. Like, you can get him cheap. He's a veteran. You can get him for the minimum. Give me your thoughts. Peace.
So Kevin has 2 calls.
Hey, it's the phone that makes them moan again, part 2. I got an idea, all right? We got 4 quarterbacks. But I say we keep them all throughout the season, all 4 quarterbacks, and we just go fucking ape shit, right? Just have each quarterback start a quarter of each game. Like Baker starts first, Sam the second, Terry Corral, 4th PJ. And then second game, you have Sam start first, Baker the second, PJ the third, and Corral the 4th. And just keep fucking mixing it up through all the season. You know, if we're going to be a circus, let's be a fucking wild circus. You know what I mean? Let's be circus.
Be fucking entertaining as shit.
Hell yeah, embrace it. I love it.
Let's just do it. Do it big. Make it entertaining. Who's going to start this week? Who's going to start the second quarter? Who's going to start the third? I don't know. All I know is this is a gigantic shit show we're watching, and it's beautiful because it's a fucking humongous train wreck. Go big or go home. That's my belief.
Go big or go home. I love that.
Hey.
Peace. All right. Good. That was good. Lean into the shit show. I guess why not at this point when you
treat every game like a preseason game.
Yeah, when you're so good at embarrassing yourself, why not?
We're really good in preseason. I say that.
Let's go back to his original question. Do we need to? Are y'all worried about tight end if Ian Thomas does have a sustained injury or? Because there's also the Sullivan guy.
Yeah, we'll hear.
I believe he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't been at camp because he had a family member or something that passed away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he hasn't been at camp, but you're hearing raving reviews about him. And we have Colin Thompson, I think, still on the squad as well.
That's a name I forgot completely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still here.
What I'm worried about with tight end is the fact that we got rid of Dan Arnold, and I've seen articles this year about how great he looks, and he's going to be the next Darren Waller. So, like, that's what I'm most afraid of at tight ends, that we had the guy, and Matt Rhule got rid of him.
We might have, yeah. But we got.
I've heard
him
good
for
things
CJ
about him this year
Anderson,
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
don't
you
know
gotta-
if we need to upgrade that position. I mean, just
Right.
because, like, I feel like there's other positions that we still would need. I would like to potentially upgrade linebacker even further.
Would you rather have linebacker or tight end? If you could upgrade one position right now to a starting elite player, a player who was a top 10 player, would you rather a top 10 middle linebacker or a top 10 tight end right now?
Right now, probably the linebacker.
Okay.
But I don't know. It depends. I don't know how long Ian Thomas is going to be out. We haven't gotten a whole lot of concrete information on that yet. But
Yeah.
I don't think we're to the point where we need to go out looking. I think there's probably some guys on the practice squad that could even come in. Tony is a stickler about this. He never says to draft them early. He thinks they're kind of like a dime a dozen. You can find them. And to his credit, a lot of the better guys have been drafted in the later rounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if we're quite there yet. I said let training camp play out. Let's see the severity of Ian Thomas. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Chuck from Elizabeth City is going to be our final call to close out the night.
Hey guys, Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina Sports Guy. I just want to give a couple of shout outs. First of all, one Carolina, that guy right there, professional. He does some of the best content there is out there. The seriousness, the in-depth viewpoints, and just how he brings it. And that's the great thing about YouTube. You get so many people doing channels. Of course, I have my own. But you guys do a wonderful job. But one Carolina, shout out to him. And I want to give a shout out to one of our C3 people, G-Babe. Been watching the Friday free-for-all, and man, he really brings it. And different opinions sometimes don't always agree, but I love his moxie. He is the Baker Mayfield of fandom for C3 podcast because he's got that moxie. He brings
He
it,
might not like
and
that
I just like his swag. Hey guys,
I feel like that was
City,
almost a not
aka
intentionally
Carolina
though.
Sports Guy. I just want to give a couple of shout outs.
Yeah, I don't know if G would like that comparison because not a big fan of Baker, but hey man, I love people who give love, man. So shout out to Chuck from Elizabeth City, Carolina Sports Guy on YouTube. That's his YouTube channel. So check him out, Carolina Sports Guy. Yeah, Chuck is incredible, and yeah, John is incredible. John's been awesome, man. John, we definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, man. You guys are
on
incredible.
the podcast,
Yeah,
man.
I love being here, man. Like I said, I stand on the shoulders of all you greats, man. Like I started my channel because of watching, you, Big Cat, Rashad and Dave, and I've become quite a big fan of Unnecessary Bluntness with Aaron Duncan. So yeah, man, all you guys, man. But obviously this is home base for me because I started off watching you guys, and it's an absolute honor to be a part of the show.
Appreciate you, man. Y'all check out One Carolina on YouTube. John's going to be uploading more to his channel. Y'all show love to Panther content creators. That's what we do, y'all.
Absolutely.
That's what we do. Rise and tide lifts all boats. But gentlemen, I'll be damned if we didn't do a 3-hour and 37-minute show.
That it?
That is kind of a trademark, right?
Yeah, that's what we do. We do long form podcasts that go way longer than even we intend them to.
Yeah, we always have this plan, like we're gonna do this to make sure this doesn't go that far, and we just
Never
find
works
a
out that
way
way.
to.
The best laid plans of mice and men, dude.
I'm even keeping track of time, and we still go way over what we expected to. Yeah,
dude. Dude, rest in peace. Come this season, bro.
Bro,
We gonna have
I think cocaine is probably gonna be in my future to try to get me through the days at work. But no.
Some 5 hour energy.
No, that alpha brain, bro. I'm telling you, it's worth it.
Yeah, man, do something. So, what are those pixie sticks? Maybe snort one of them right to your face.
Right.
I mean, do something. Let's be clever about it. We have a podcast to do. That's what we do, man. But look here. It's time for our final segment of the evening. It's when we pay our homage to the great Panther legend, Steve Smith. It's time to ice some fools up.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Ice up, son. Ice up. Does anyone have something that they would like to use to go first?
I got a good one. A funny one.
Do it.
Do your thing, man.
Kind of ironic. Okay. There is the AMTA, which is the American Massage Therapy Association, right?
Yes. Boy.
And I would think that you would have a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? You could read the room and understand what you're doing. Apparently, they have a national convention every year, and they decided to have their national convention this year in Cleveland, Ohio, which normally wouldn't be that big of a deal, except for the fact that the quarterback that Cleveland, Ohio just signed has the situation he's in. So when I heard that story, and I'm sure this is probably planned months before they ever signed him, but just the timing of the story, I heard it, and then knowing this, it's just funny that I think that they're having the National Massage Therapy Convention in Cleveland, Ohio, with Deshaun Watson being the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. So I don't even need to explain anymore. Enough said with that. I saw that today. I was like, oh, there's my ice up pick right there. So ice up. Cleveland.
And by the way, it's literally it's 1 block away from Brown Stadium.
Right.
You can't make it up, dude. You literally can't make it up. It's a block away from Brown Stadium. Yeah, that's hilarious.
It is.
That's when life is at its peak. When shit like that happens, that's the best.
Stars align for that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. CK, you got something?
I was gonna just ice up the officiating of the Hall of Fame game. Initially, just the first play of the game was a roughing the passer, which was not a roughing the passer, by the way. And apparently there has been, because the league, there was a reduction in the amount of flags for personal fouls, basically for the defense hitting offensive players too hard or lowering the head or something. The NFL has basically put out, we want you guys to throw more of those flags because there wasn't as much contact last year. I don't know. I'm not sure I understand the thought. So it's already starting out in a really shitty way that I think that this is going to be a very offensive driven league this year, because I think the defenses are going to be penalized like a mother. So I'm going to ice up the officiating crew, especially for the first snap of the 2022 season. Happens to be a roughing the passer, which was a garbage call.
No.
Yeah.
Ice up, son.
Ice up. John, you I don't know if you prepared anything or if you have something. Man, bring it.
So I saw something on Twitter today, but I think it may have happened a couple of days ago. But there's this quarterback in New York, and his name is Daniel Jones. And he threw what looked like a normal out route, and it went way, way out. And I would like to ice up Mr. David Gettleman for thinking that Daniel Jones was a first-round quarterback, Vernon Butler was a first-round tackle or defensive tackle.
Kelvin
Benjamin, and getting rid of Josh Norman after a tremendous season, only to have 2016 blow up in our face. So ice up Mr. Gettleman. Thank you, C-Dog. I appreciate you, brother.
I'm talking. I didn't even know I was muted. This is the clip in question. And Tony sent me a clip the other day, or not a clip,
God.
but it was like it was that one of the sideline photographers for the Giants is a guy in a wheelchair, and apparently Daniel Jones, he missed so bad that he hit him.
Oh gosh.
Well, dude, I wanted so badly to put Daniel Jones. Damn you and your
Man, you
violence
remember
against my people.
Remember what was it? Longest Yard. Remember when Brucey went in? Like it's Brucey time to shine, baby.
Yeah.
that was a Brucey pass.
So my ice up for tonight is referees at a high school football game. So apparently this referee was big time mad, y'all. And nobody knows what this dude was really mad about. But look at this dude in the red shorts. Look at my man fully acting out. And you have not even seen the best part. Watch. Then don't look how Brady does him.
That's great.
Bro, you know it's bad when you're pitching a temper tantrum and old buddy just picks you up and walks away. Bro, I don't know whatever you were mad about, but you ended up embarrassing yourself on the internet in front of the whole world.
Bro, he
I hope whatever you were upset about, I hope it was worth it.
He like 5'1". No wonder you mad.
Chat room says Kevin Hart. Jay Young says, "Is that Lil Uzi?" Bro, dude, shout out to him. He's only 5'2". You know, he can't help it.
5'2".
But
Cody, if you're done, I'm gonna do something a little unjust here. I wasn't here last week. I want to see if can I get an additional ice up pick in here for last week, just real quick. This is one that came up this week, and I was debating which one I wanted to do, but I don't know if you heard about this Ann Hash or crash she had in California. Okay, so like apparently she was driving a car, she crashed into a house. It took 60 firefighters to put out the fire that she caused and the destruction she caused. She's in a coma now, and I wish the best for her. I really do. Like I'm not wishing anything bad on her by any means.
Anne Heche?
Heche, yeah, that's what I meant to say.
The actress is the actress?
The actress, yes. I'm icing up all. Yeah, she got into a wreck. She was basically. I don't know the details of it. From what I understand, she was speeding through a neighborhood extremely fast, crashed into a house, destroyed the house. It took 60 firefighters to put the flames out, and she's in a coma now. Okay, and I'm not icing up her by any means because we all make mistakes, and I get that. What I'm icing up is all the people in the world that are sending her love and prayers and money or whatever you want to send her. What about the people whose house she crashed into that are not a rich celebrity? Like, does anybody care about them? And that's the spot that we're in America that really pisses me off, is that we put these athletes and celebrities on such pedestals that they can fuck up. I don't know what happened with her. I don't know if she was drunk. I don't know if she passed out. I have no idea. So I don't want to judge on that. But regardless, she ran into a family's home and destroyed their home.
Yeah.
You know, and all anybody can think about is she okay? But there are people who are probably not nearly as well off as her, that our lives are probably destroyed, that nobody gives a shit about. And that's what I'm icing up is let's focus our attention in the right spot here, y'all. I'm not saying don't give her prayers if you want to throw them their way, or thoughts if you want to throw them that way, or money even. But let's consider the family she destroyed too, because they're also suffering probably a lot worse than her. So that's my second ice up pick. A little more serious.
Good point.
Yeah.
Ice up.
Well said, brother.
Ice up. Well, gentlemen.
White chocolate espresso, you tripping. He said that man got a short temper.
Yeah, shout out Kevin.
Man, have y'all seen that little video of it's like when Kyler Murray signed this contract? It was like somebody posted a video of this like little like Power Wheel or something car driving in the middle of traffic, and it was like Kyler Murray going to sign his contract.
Did you guys see the one that Tony posted? It was somebody it was a retweet, but it was basically it was one of our, it might have been our NFL or our playoff, one of our playoff games from 2003, and it was, I think, Stephen Davis who did his little dive across the goal line, holding his hand out, and it just Deshaun Foster. That's what it was. And it just cuts to like Matt Rhule, like with a really angry face on, like. Like, cause after the whole like reaching your hand over the line, you might have to play that because that was such a hysterical. Whoever made that was a genius thing because of this whole like reaching the ball across the goal line. In the middle of that press conference, I was really just laughing because I'm just sitting there thinking, oh God, people are going to comment on how. Yeah, he's built a team that doesn't reach the ball across the goal line. You're absolutely right. So.
Yeah, man. Dude, what a world we live in, man.
Yeah.
What crazy. A world we live in, dude. Well, in a world full of madness and chaos and craziness, there is the C3 Panthers podcast. And we just did 3 hours and 50 minutes. Almost 4 hours for y'all.
Tony's
Can
gonna
you
be so
imagine
proud.
the stamina that we have? Man, we out here, man. We don't get tired. Shout out Kevin Gates, man. We don't get tired. Never, bro. And you know what we actually do? We keep pounding.
Hell,
just like
yes.
I asked y'all to keep pounding the like button. We're so close to 4,000 subscribers,
80
y'all.
more.
We're so close to 4,000 subscribers.
Hey. Now you gotta come back. They didn't see. Come back.
Nah, tell her come back. We gotta.
Yeah,
we
she's wearing a
gotta
Panthers
show
hat.
off.
Oh, geez.
Let me closer. Let me closer.
Hold on.
All right, don't be shy now.
There she is.
I like
Hold on,
that.
I
I
got-
like that. I like that.
Oh, got the other. Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Got the.
Oh,
just keeping those Panthers fans coming along.
That's right.
Hey, man.
Raising them right.
John's doing it right, man. He's raising the next generation of Panther fans. So,
Absolutely.
hey, man, y'all be like John. Continue to support the channel. My name is Cody Lashton, filling in for the professor tonight. I hope I did a good job. To my guys, Greg, CK, you know I love you. Appreciate the both of you. I'll be seeing you both very, very soon.
2 days, baby.
Oh, shit. And, so, guys, be monitoring my Twitter account, Cody Lack, CODYLAC, the Bat Daddy 52, and Codizzle Allen on Twitter. As we get closer to time and figure out everything, we're going to better coordinate and we're going to put out our stuff on Twitter so people can come see us and hang out with us and, take pictures and all that good stuff, man. It ought to be a good time.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, our very special guest, John from Warren, Carolina. John, again, cannot thank you enough, brother.
Thank you guys for having me. Yeah.
You always bring the heat, man. You have fantastic takes and opinions. Y'all go follow this man, Warren, Carolina, on YouTube. I think that's it, boys. Anything else we have before we gotta get out of here?
man.
Mayfield.
Baker
Bro.
Bottoms, baby.
C3 Nation.
Baker Bottoms. Becoming a Baker Bottom. I'm telling you.
Call it, man.
All the way.
That's right.
OneCarolinaShop.com. If you want to be a Baker Bottom, OneCarolinaShop.com.
There you go.
Well, C3 Panther Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.